Do it.
Dave's been recording our other videos, so I have been off the hook. I haven't had to think about it, which is really nice.
AV Club.
Yeah, automate it.
Not that it's
Like,
should
hard.
be.
You can automate it for, I don't know if you could do it for certain, like, because I have something scheduled for us. If I could schedule it based on the meeting. Not all meetings you want, like you're just like hanging out with someone and you're like, oh, it's being recorded. Like our friend Daniel, that happened to us. He had a recorder set up and it's called Grain and it uploads and they transcribe it. So he was like, what was he, 10 minutes late or something, maybe? So it's recording us and we just did a whole skit about Daniel. Like, and then he pulled it up on the screen and showed us and you can see like everything we were just saying is like printed on the screen. It's kind of cool. You could take it one step further. Record and transcribe.
Everything
All the time. File it away.
Mm-hmm.
Have your AI
Never look
analyze
at it
it
ever again. Perfect. Because you're just creating so much stuff.
Dave got me an iced coffee with no straw.
You don't need a straw. They kill turtles or whatever.
I mean, do all plastic straws kill turtles?
Every plastic straw kills a
turtle.
That's why, do you ever see turtles around?
There's one down the street. There's a tortoise down the street. It's really big.
Well, you're keeping that tortoise alive by not having a straw. That's how it works. Have you been?
Dude, coconut. That been better.
No.
Well, you're on a relax trip.
That's good.
That's when it's usually not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
It's,
hunkering down somewhere.
yeah. I mean, it usually gets you when you are relaxing and then you realize you're kind of working to keep your mind off things or I guess you become kind of addicted to working constantly. So when the mind is free, it just goes nuts.
Yeah, it's a stress change. Those used to give me like crazy migraines.
Yeah.
Because like the difference in like tension would like release and then my brain wouldn't know. I'm so used to being like on high alert or something like this. And then, you know, it took me forever to realize that that's what it was. I would get it like between projects and like, or if I would go on vacation, I'd spend the first like 2 days under a pillow because my brain was trying to, a bunch of things like this. It's tough.
Yeah. Such a weird, I kind of realized it yesterday or something that I'm like, there's nothing other than Tree Drops not having the customer lined up.
Yeah.
Nothing is bad, but in your mind you make things so much worse than it is.
Yeah.
Just because you are not working, you're just overthinking every little thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh, that's probably not healthy. I should probably have some boundaries.
Find other things to work on that aren't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because your brain probably does need something to be doing, but it doesn't have to be what you usually call work.
Yeah.
Well, I guess with this type of work, the reward system is kind of messed up as well, because all of the work that we've been doing over the past year, let's just say past half a year, we haven't seen the reward from it yet, which makes it even more tiring.
Yeah.
But if you see some kind of signs that you're on the right path, then you get the thing that you're supposed to get to keep going.
Yep.
Yeah. No, but this place is very, very nice. Yeah, I think we talked about one time where I put all of the design references or screenshots and everything into Figma over I collected them for the past 7 years or so.
Yeah.
And there was a color palette that came from it. This hotel has basically that as well. Whenever we travel, we sometimes end up being, coming here. And I kind of realize why that is.
You like the feel of it.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
So it's a
very nice.
hotel, like resort? What's the,
Yeah, I guess it's a resort. It's called Mason. And it's very relaxing. Usually quiet. And it looks like this. Very nice architecture. Oh, they're running ads on Google. Okay, here it is. Where is the?
Mason Pattaya?
I mean, the architecture is crazy.
Ocean looks cool.
No. A member of Design Hotels.
Villa.
Which one? Wait. Beachfront Grand Pool Villa, Beachside Sea View Villa,
Yeah, this place is crazy.
Duplex Grand Pool Villa, Garden Pool, Double Grand Pool. Are you in a villa?
Yeah,
What
they
kind?
only have villas.
Yeah, they
They only
villas.
have villas. So beachfront, beachside.
Here, check this out. The images.
Yeah. Beachfront. Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's so edgy. Everything is edgy.
Everything is edgy.
Mhm.
And it's there is some things about this that you need to have a big piece of stone in the center of your house to kind of make it rounded.
Mhm.
And they have this right under the steps. They just a lot of them, and then if kind of
Just in Thailand.
brings it down.
Damn.
Okay.
Jeez, oh Pete. Look at that bedroom. You're looking out over the ocean?
Yeah, now we are in this one, the garden pool villa, which is because people actually walk right in front of the
Yeah.
yeah, so it's not really that private.
That would
But
be amazing if it was like, that would be crazy.
Yeah, you
I
just
mean, they
need-
have many things like that in here. Thailand is such a good place to come and relax. A lot of
What's
things
the-
are affordable.
How much does it run for like USD per night?
This is now 50% discounted because of the COVID situation, which make things very, very good. So this is one night, 800. $63. Yeah.
Dollar?
It's a lot of dollars.
That is a lot of dollars. Wait, that's the full price.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
For the
Beachfront.
It's lovely.
I mean, we were looking because we're going to New York after this, and in about a week we're driving out there across the country. And I mean, there's like to find a place to live, it's just insane because all the Airbnb stuff, and then like who knows, all the real estate things are insane in the United States. And I'm like, I guess we're gonna spend $10,000 to get like a 1-bedroom apartment in New York for like a month.
He's just like, yeah.
So
Yeah.
not a good one,
Oh my
not like
God.
a nice one, not something like at Central Park or something. It's like somewhere that's kind of, you know, okay, near an okay neighborhood. It's fine. Yeah, it's insane.
I was Googling it. All of the big cities. So Singapore, big city, Singapore, but whatever.
Yeah.
Singapore is considered to be the high-end one in Southeast Asia, and then
Yeah.
Tokyo, and then San Francisco, and then New York. Prices are insane.
It's
Yeah.
bonkers. We found like, well, maybe it'll turn out like there are these longer stay, but like not super fancy neighborhoods, which I don't care if there's a near a park or whatever. It's a bit cheaper, but I don't know if we haven't heard back from
I
them
haven't
yet.
heard back from her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we use this one website where the software is pretty shitty. And like most of the communication is like slow and it's very much not like a hotel or like Airbnb.
It's very inconvenient. It's perfect.
But
You
if
get
you
to
can
save so much money.
find, if you can find someone who actually wants to like rent to you, you get deals.
Yeah.
So it's kind of worth the gamble. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like probably 30-40% cheaper than everything else.
Wow.
It's just so that I never have to
All-
get a job again.
Yeah.
That's why.
All of the Airbnb places here are selling. They just couldn't survive. the
Yeah, you were
COVID.
talking about that before. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Interesting though. Yeah.
Just insanely beautiful places where they just, whenever there are some tech people traveling and they're staying in these crazy places, they're actually very cheap and they're all Airbnbs.
Interesting.
And now they're all running on sale. What is this? Is this edible? What is it?
You can find out.
It looks like felt.
I'm not the type of a guy that just randomly like this
Yeah.
looks like
Me
this looks
neither.
delicious. I need to examine the whole origin story. I just put it in my mouth and bite it. I need to open it. There is something inside. Wow. No, it's the first time. Wow, you are sharing this adventure with me.
Is that a fruit?
Wow.
It's apparently something inside. Okay, now I know. It looks much more
Oh, it's a lychee.
beautiful. Is it?
It looks like a lychee.
But then have you seen it like this before?
I feel like Thailand has all kinds of interesting fruits.
Oh, it's kind of. Yeah, they have a bunch of fake fruits here. Like
Like in a
something that
bowl?
looks like an apple, but it's not an apple.
But it's some
Oh,
other
yeah.
fruit.
An apple tastes like carpet.
Yeah, like a crab apple. They have
Yeah.
those.
I just ate the whole thing. Okay. This is my dinner. There's no
Oh,
room
okay.
service, no nothing.
They don't have room service?
No, because they
COVID.
let go of a lot of people because they were in the.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
go
they're
out
just
to the ocean.
barely-
Grab a fish.
Oh, these fish probably expire. No, this tastes horrible. Do you like it? It's not. Should it be sweet? It does taste expired too. Here, try.
Like what?
It's expired.
Oh, thought you said spiders. I was like, what?
Tastes like
Spiders
spiders.
taste like something?
Sure.
I'm
They're
sorry,
just-
but this is completely black.
It's a berry.
Looks like a mini atom bomb.
Hmm.
That's a pro version. She cut it so nice. In a second, and then just. All right. How's everything else?
All right. So
I joined the Discord.
now that we've gotten
Yeah, I
the,
saw. Have
the
you?
fruit.
You got to get in there and you got to mix it up. You got to be like, hey, what's up? How's it
Yeah.
going, everybody? What's that?
Yeah. What's that?
I don't know. We're I think we've got like a little bit of momentum going. It's weird. So I'm not used to it because it's been a while since I had anything with momentum going.
But it's so fun to play with. That's the good news.
Yeah.
The thing we built is like all levels of drawing because I'm not very good at it.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like it's a little toy thing, and it's what makes it fun is the collaborative part that when you draw on your little tile, it goes next to other people's tiles. So you kind of line up things if you want to connect. So it makes it enjoyable.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah, I wasn't sure what like that's actually made by you. Wait.
So
Yeah, can you actually share it? Because I thought that
Yeah.
some of them were like screenshots, like inspiration stuff.
let's do.
But this is
Yeah.
actually
We'll do
this looks
Chrome in
really-
case we want to do anything.
do you
with
have a
it.
wallet hooked up there?
Do I or does he?
You.
I mean, I could easily hook it up.
Kristen's gonna do a new version of a demo. She's learning how to do this.
Oh, please.
What?
Don't sass me. I had to draw on a video call yesterday. I was not prepared for it. Because I wasn't like ready to do something quickly and I was self-conscious about my drawing.
oh wow, doing
I
a
know.
demo with and drawing
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
All in one.
I wasn't prepared for that.
And oh my God, this is so cool. Is this it?
Yeah,
This
this is
is
one
our like
canvas.
test canvas. Yeah.
This is the coolest thing.
Oh, I can invite someone.
There you go. Can invite him.
I didn't realize that.
Fuck, do I need to have a wallet for this?
Yeah.
Do you have one generally?
Is it, I mean,
You better get a
No.
wallet or else you're not gonna be able to play.
this is the reason I'm gonna get into now digital currency.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to play.
You don't have to have anything in the wallet.
Can I
don't-
get something in my wallet by playing this?
I mean, that's the hope. I mean, yeah, for people. So the general idea, I mean, yeah, I don't know if we need to go through all of this, but
We don't have to, but we can.
yeah, like, so basically
I'll send you, we're mapping out the UI flow and I'll send it to you later so you can see how it works.
yeah, so we have a few things like, so these are all people who've drawn tiles. The way it works is, so Kristen drew this one. Some other people drew this one. So what is it? Our friend Scott, who's been helping us out a little bit, drew this guy, and then he gave a coin to Kristen, and then you come here and you drop your coin, like, and we've generated, like we have, I don't know if you can show it in Discord or wherever.
Well, it's sharing.
Right here, just one of these.
Yeah, but it's not sharing.
Oh,
the
you're
whole
only
screen.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get these demos worked out someday.
What the hell? Oh, you didn't do this
Share desktop. Just hit, you can,
That was also the first time. Wow, that looks so cool.
yeah, so you get a coin like this.
one. Dave
and
designed that. He can tell you the design story.
the design story is that I make it really fast and it's kind of shitty, but that's fine.
It
Yeah,
looks
so, and then we're baking a key into the image. So like the system generates a coin. It's got like a cryptographic thing in it, and then you bring it back to
Wow, you're
bring it back
amazing.
to here,
Yeah.
and then
Drop it in.
you drop it here. I'm gonna make like a arcade thing, and you drop the coin in. You remember Mailbox, or what was it, Mailbox?
No, Dropbox mailbox. Yeah.
Yeah, Mailbox,
Yeah,
Dropbox.
that's fun.
They were ripping that thing off. That's how they did their beta invites. They would send coins out, and then if you had a coin, you go in there and you got through the beta. So we figured out how to do that. And then once you, yeah, this generates a coin.
Each coin is specific to a like tile with XY coordinates.
Yeah,
So if I did invite you to this one, I'd generate the coin, I'd create an image and then I'd send it to you. And then you'd come here and you could redeem it.
yeah. So there's a bunch of gameplay, but basically the general principle is we're gonna have a bunch of canvases, 4 seeds on the canvas. We're gonna hand those out to artists that we know. The artist can like make their tile, and then they invite an artist friend of theirs with a coin. And then that artist friend can come do their tile, and then they invite 3 of their artist friends. And then the thing fills in like this. And then at the end of it, like they've created a whole canvas together, and then we'll sell that whole thing as an NFT. And then all the profits come back to everybody who made a tile. So don't know. We'll see.
And Dave drew this guy. He's a naked guy.
Yeah.
See him?
We need an
Beautiful.
active thing to show you the interface.
And then he drew this guy. I like this guy too.
Anyhow, yeah. So, but yeah, we made a
Wow.
whole pixel interface, like drawing.
Yeah, I'm so curious how you draw this. Also, that whole thing is not a link, right? So there is no about in this.
Not yet.
Not yet. We need to do all that stuff. So yeah.
And this is so interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious to know how, why are some of them dotted and others are not?
So these are blank.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
can see, can you see here, like? let me
I need to
see.
go through and clean up the whole canvas to show all the states.
You
Like,
could see here, this one, CJ has it, cjpice.eth. This one's unclaimed, but someone already downloaded the coin. So the coin is out in the world. This one has an address that doesn't have the reverse lookup, the OX3. So someone has that one. And this one, again, like he's talking about the UI, it needs to be updated, but I can invite someone to that. So that one's up for grabs.
You want to help me with all this stuff, you can. Because I got a lot to do. Yeah, where's the, just show you the interface. I got a
Where's
bunch-
Whose computer is this?
This is mine.
It's hers.
Wow, your menu is there.
Yeah, this is I don't know if you can see that.
I see that.
Yeah,
Is it
so
slow for you too, or
hmm.
it's not slow for you too, right? Like everything moves very fast on your screen.
On our screen, yeah. It might be the
Yeah,
connection.
It's probably a connection. Yeah, so yeah, I have like, so we're adding in all the tooling here. It's limited to 16 colors you can draw on this thing. This is like a preview with the tiles next to you. It's like
wow.
the simplest drawing interface you can build. I have like the actual look and feel in here somewhere. Where did I put it? Oh, this is the mock-up that I did. So yeah, and then these are like, we're gonna do a little gutter to show your neighbors so that you can connect it all up. And then remember how you were doing the pixel art?
Yeah.
I'm doing this in Figma and I'm like, it's ridiculous. I feel like it's 20 years ago. I'm just drawing squares and moving them around and stuff.
It's so fun. We've built a whole branding based on that. And they're like, yep, the first branding concept that we presented, I go, yep. And we're like, yep, that's probably the best one. And then we build out an entire language for it. This is so cool. Reminds me of that $1 billion website.
Yeah. It's a
1
sim.
billion? No, 1 million.
1 million,
But
yeah.
Oh yeah, the $1 million website. We
Yeah,
talked about
so
this, yeah.
it's got a little bit of gameplay like this, and then you get, but hopefully I think the economics part of this will be the most interesting, because basically all these people are going to own. We talked to our friend Jade yesterday, and she's like pretty involved in the NFT world. And there's all like, so I think we can get these NFT artists to come play, and they know how to flip these things. They understand the like market aspect of all of this stuff. And so we're basically trying to figure out like what amount of percentage royalties that we're going to take on the artwork so that it can come back into a treasury so we can keep making versions of things like this. So the business, I think, will work, assuming that there's enough demand, which right now people are pretty nuts about this stuff. And we're the first ones doing a game like this, I think.
Yeah,
like
collaborative art game.
Yeah, I
No
don't think
one's doing
anybody
that.
else is anywhere near this yet. There's a lot of little projects that are doing really cool shit, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Like, I think we're not too far away from launching, maybe a week, depending on.
Shoot.
I mean, we did this in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But,
fucking
yeah.
crazy. I mean, it took
A lot of work, yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
it's coming together in 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
it took us months of like
we hatched the
playing together and
idea
all that stuff.
2
It's-
weeks ago.
Yeah,
and then-
so it's just a sign that we're kind of warm, like, which is nice. Anyways, so yeah, we had everybody out here in the house together
that's
making
why we
things.
couldn't talk,
Yeah,
because
Uh,
yeah, we were having a hacker house.
yeah.
we'll start of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we use the TV because there's like I don't know what it is, like a Fire Stick or whatever, where you can,
It's AirPlay in the TV.
yeah, AirPlay. So we'd have code up on the TV and everyone would be hanging out in the living room.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
saw the images.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't know where though. Was it Discord or Instagram?
maybe
Why
Instagram.
Discord?
Say what?
Why Discord?
It's just where
It's
everything's
the place to
yeah,
be. Yeah.
like, because it's more game centric, and then all the majority. I mean, there's some Telegram, but
Some Telegram and
a
some
lot of
people
the
use-
Web3 stuff is
some
in
people
Discord.
use Slack too. It's just the interface for hanging out and going between text channels and voice or video channels
Yeah,
is so slick. Like you can, like the time that I helped run a design hackathon, we would have like 5 rooms going, like video rooms, and you can just like go between them and people
Yeah.
are like hanging. It was really cool. It felt like a place, like people were like at a conference or something.
yeah, we're
Hmm.
kind of setting up a stage, is the way it feels like, because basically like these canvases are going to all have like people who own the tiles. And one of the things that like Sharu's actually setting this up, when you get a tile, you get basically a token that allows you to come into the Discord, and a channel that only people who own like a tile from that canvas can be in. So then you have everybody who's in a canvas working together in a Discord. So it's like a community funnel. And so you can set up a bunch of pathways and stuff for this kind of thing. So
Yeah, is the API that open on Slack? Maybe,
but it just, no one wants to be in Slack. It's terrible. I haven't opened it in forever. So yeah, so most of the, I mean, again, there's like an overlap with the gaming communities and stuff. And then like a lot of the sort of NFT traders and a lot of these like DAO projects are they all have Discords. It's like part of where you go to hang out. So, because you can hook up all kinds of like voting things and stuff like this to like do governance and like polling and this kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. This is gonna be our first like
I think Discord is pretty receptive to change too. So they recently were polling members about Web3 utility within the app that they would like to see. So I don't know, they feel like they're in the mix, like it's not a walled off thing. And because it's it's a gaming community, there's just a different vibe than Slack.
Yeah, it's more fun. So yeah, I don't know. This is where we're at with things. Got a bunch of writing to do, a bunch of UI to do. Finding
Writing?
Yeah, like
copywriting,
like, you know, because the way I want it, I mean, lots of micro copy all over the site or whatever. This is where I like to do all my jokes and nonsense and, you know, descriptors and stuff. And then the way we're going to put out the rules and stuff is kind of like story based and like mysterious, these kinds of things. Because we're trying to create a little world out of the thing. So yeah. It's fun.
It's so cool. It has all of those elements of a long time ago, it's probably a great thing to write about, how to make a hyped up kind of a product or product launch. And this has all of those elements. Simple, fresh idea, executed with taste, and there's a story around it to wrap it all up.
And we've got people around too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Like it's nice to build in a community like this where people are coming into play. Like someone that I met that I did a project with at that hackathon, he messaged me on Discord. So here's another thing, like people are just in Discord. So he messages me and I was like, hey, I feel like you should be part of this server. And I told him what we were doing and he's like, oh yeah, like I want to be part of this. And then last night I sent him a coin. I was like, let me know if you don't know like how to get on like this test net or whatever. I mean, he's an engineer, so of course he's like immediately in and he's like, I figured it all out. But it's cool because people can come in and play and like give feedback and ask questions. It's just a nicer way to launch things. It's less, you have a better idea of what the response is going to be from other people because you're already getting like a snapshot.
Yeah.
It's a small version, but
yeah, and in the Web3 stuff right now, it's all so early. Like doing anything complex, there's very few projects doing that stuff. So you just kind of just need to get it out in the world and get people looking at it. It's, you know, the barrier to entry is really low. I mean, there's a lot to learn, I guess, but doing some big flashy polished thing, that's not what it's about. Like, because you can't, if you try to do that, you'll never ship the thing. It'll never go out the door.
Long.
It's more important just to get it in people's hands so that they can then help you build the next one and the next one and the next one. You're just doing small experiments. I just have to remind myself this over and over and over again when I'm trying to like make it fancy. Like no one
Yes.
cares. Just make it funny, make it ridiculous, do it fast. It's good enough. So yeah.
I think there's a good thing in here too, where there's a scarcity built in and not everyone can go use the thing right away.
No.
So if people start talking about it, other people are gonna be like, I can't get in. How do you get in? Like, what do you do?
Do you
How
have
does
a
it-"
coin?
Yeah. And then they'll
Mm.
figure out the dynamics and then everyone's gonna, I mean, if it catches on, but it has the possibility of catching on in that
Yeah.
way, just because people want to see. So
Yeah, if nothing else, I think we're going to meet a lot of people who are like it'll serve that purpose that like the people who understand what we're doing and like have been looking to play in this way, like will hopefully find us, and then for whatever we do next, there's the possibility that we can work together.
Yep.
So this is the, we can find peers this way. I think if we can make some artists some money too, that's nice. Feels good. So yeah.
yeah, we'll send you the video from yesterday when we talked with Jade, because she's based out of Bangkok usually, but with COVID, she came back to the States
Yeah.
with her family. And she knows a bunch of
Ton of
Thai artists.
Yeah.
So we were gonna connect you anyway. It just didn't happen with COVID stuff, and then she left.
Yeah, this will be good to watch so you can get a view of her world and sort of see who she is and stuff. But yeah, she's my oldest friend, and it's super weird because like we're converging
Mhm.
again. Like we don't talk all that often, but like she's the person who introduced me to musicians and artists in Las Vegas. And then like I didn't know what I was doing with my life until I was like, oh shit, these people exist. And then I was able to hang in her crew, and then like all of the art stuff that I've ever done starts right there, like with her. And so
And she doesn't know about computers like
Yeah.
at all. So she was saying yesterday, everything that she like learned about computers was from Dave as kids.
yeah,
Dave was like the computer guy who knew about computer stuff, and her husband was there, and he's like, he was like chiming in about that too. He's like, oh, it's Dave. Like, what's Dave up to? Like, what's
Yeah.
Dave know? It's kind of funny. It's cute. It's weird that
yeah, it's interesting right now. She's like, I mean, well, we're doing the NFT thing and that, but she's like very in the non-technical part of it, the like people trading and making art for each other, and like
art scene. Yeah.
there's a bunch of art business that's happening now. Like creator types have like ecosystems where they can like figure out business models. And so they're like rapidly iterating, and they're on Clubhouse, and like they've got these there's all these people that it's pretty active. So it's interesting to get like that viewpoint. And then we're over here doing like nerd stuff and letting people, I mean, again, it's converging. So
Yeah.
it's wild. It's a fun time.
So where is she now?
She's back in New York. They left because of all the lockdown stuff, and because they have 2 kids. And I think the same like stress that you were having or whatever, they just bailed because they have family outside of New York, I think. So they could stay with them for a little bit until things like iron out. I think they probably wanted to get vaccines and stuff. So they came back. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, things are getting better on that note.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
They are making Bangkok a sandbox, which
Mhm.
means travelers can come in if they are vaccinated.
Okay.
I guess that's a requirement that you have to have the 2 shots. Then you don't need to be quarantined. But you basically need to stay inside Bangkok for 7 days, and then you
Okay.
can travel to other sandboxes. And as so far there are 2. There's a big island, and then there is another one. And when that rolls out, which is probably next month, that means the school's gonna open up again. I wonder the time the kids had during all of this time, like no school, and then
What are they doing?
everybody trying to figure out this computer thing and doing it
Yeah.
remote. But I guess then right after that bar is gonna open, and then Thailand is doing everything to get people in here. So there are new visas rolling out, work permits are being given out, and taxes are being completely removed.
Really?
Just get over here, work, pay
Stimulate
nothing.
the economy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It makes
Uh,
sense. I mean, I'm sure a big part of Thailand's economy is based on tourism.
All of it, almost.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably, I don't know what our schedule is like or whatever, but we're going to be in New York for a month or so. And then we have the like holidays out here. We'll probably do that with family wherever, I don't know, like down in Florida and then Texas.
Florida and Texas.
I don't know how this fucking happened. Anyways, Florida and Texas, then we'll probably head back to California. And then from there, we don't really have plans. So I'd like to get overseas if it makes sense. So we may be heading that direction.
Which way does it make sense to go? Like if you were on
I don't know if the flights
West Coast or East Coast?
go from, yeah, I've never done, I mean, from when we flew to Japan, we flew from Vancouver.
Yeah.
So
We could fly
it kind of makes
go
sense to go
through
from the West.
Asia. Yeah. If they'll have us.
Man, what a
Vaccinated.
life you guys are living.
Say what?
What a life you guys have been living. How long has it been now?
7 months?
Wow.
Yeah. February, end of February. So basically March. I can't
So
do
this no longer feels like a thing you are doing. This is basically life now for you.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got its moments where like, so we're a week out from leaving again, and we've been in one place for a while. And so there's a whole thing, or for me anyway, we get here and then I like flip out because like I don't know where anything is and I don't know whatever, you know, and like the culture is different and stuff. It's not that different, but it's enough, you know.
It's different everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an adjustment.
so then you get adjusted, and then now like we're about to leave in a week and everything is going to be different again, and like there's a different energy and it takes a while to get settled, and so like my brain starts like flipping out.
And there's a ton of logistics too for like
Yeah.
this one because we're driving across the country. So we're staying in like 10 places
Yeah.
over the course of a couple of weeks to get there. So you have to, and we don't plan things ahead
No, we're
like
bad
in
at that.
advance. So then we're like, all right, where are we going to go? Like, how do we figure it out? So we're not on the road figuring it out because that we've done that too. And that sucks.
That's not great. Yeah, so it's got its like like we have some level of confidence that we can pull these things off. Like
Yeah.
internationally, who knows? Like we've not really done that, so that would be a different mentality. But
That'll be kind of nice though, because we won't have the car. It'll be a completely different,
yeah,
but yeah, it'll be nice but challenging.
my hope is, so one of the things we're finding is that like currently in the Web3 stuff, there's a lot of people who want to meet up, and like we did a meetup here. We're going to do another one on Thursday, just at a bar, and a bunch of people came. So it's like meeting people is pretty easy. So
Wow.
my hope is that if we have a project out and then people know who we are, it gets a little bit easier to like sort of
Yeah,
get
get in
into
networks
and then be
Who's
like,
got a place where you can crash? Yeah.
or just like who's local to some place and can show us around or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, and I think in New York, there's like a conference happening out there. When we're out there, there's a bunch of people who are starting to play. So it has the feel of like early days when I Carbon made stuff. It was like early in Web 2, and like all the blogs were out there and there's nobody doing anything yet. So you do anything and then they're like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, hey, how's it going?
Hey, who are you? They're
Like,
I know
they're
everything
like,
about you.
Come to San Francisco. Like 12 of us are getting together. I'm like, all right. And then I got on a plane and I go meet a bunch of people. So it's nice with that. It just feels less lonely, like you're just out in the middle of nowhere. So that makes it a little easier. That's starting to come online, but we'll see.
How did you guys start the meetups?
You and John are.
Yeah, well, we just figured we might as well. So here's what happened. We went to an Ethereum
Oh, yeah.
Portland meetup.
Sorry.
It's okay. We went to an Ethereum Portland meetup. They had an existing group that meets monthly. I found it because I was starting to think like, how do you make friends in places? Because I don't know, like it's weird to just come to a place and not feel connected at all. So I started thinking about what did I do when I first moved to the Bay Area? And I was like, well, I went on Meetup and I went to a bunch of weird fucking things and like just joined, like join a club, do this, do that, like just see. And I found I was looking for Web3, like crypto, just to see what was going on because we've been playing in that space so much. And I found a meetup. We all agreed it would be fun. We spent an entire day trying to figure out like how to get a certain token into our wallets without paying an astronomical amount of money because they had this RSVP system. And then we were like, fuck it. We're not going to like bother with the whole thing. We're just going to go crash the party and they won't care. Like, why would they care? So it ended up, they didn't care at all. And a bunch of people had stories about it. It was fun. And all of a sudden there's like 20 people there. We're meeting all these people and we're just like, holy shit, there's like a whole community of people in Portland that are interested in this space and they're aligned. It was really cool. So
well, one of the things there is we met this dude who's in the Discord now named Scott Potato. And he had been playing around in the ecosystem or whatever. And
we were talking about getting the tokens.
Yeah. And so he basically, his version of like finding the tokens, we were like trying to buy them and all this other stuff. And he's like, yeah, you just ask on the internet and people will give you whatever you need to do the thing. Cause everybody tries to help each other.
Well, they're all in a bunch of Discords talking and they're just like, hey, I need Matic tokens. And someone's like, I can send you some.
And then they send you the thing. And so the person who answered him on how to get the tokens was Sharuz. From our group. And so I go and I'm like, hey, yeah, we've been playing around, we've been making stuff. And like one of the people we're making stuff with is Sharuz. He's like, yeah, I talked to him earlier today. And I'm like, what? And so it's just the tiny world thing.
Yeah.
And then we start talking and then he's been helping out, like playing with the app and stuff like this and doing like a little building with us. This is how it's working. I don't know. And because he's an engineer, he's working on this other game that's like pretty popular right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun with this stuff. So anyways, we knew that there were people there. We met some of those people. And then John also just goes and hangs out with people.
John goes to all kinds of events that he meets, not crypto specific,
Twitter,
online.
all this, yeah. So he went to some other place and then.
Well, we had our team in town.
Yeah.
And we thought with everyone together, it might be nice to see, like to get like a group to socialize. So we did our own little meetup and it was, we announced, like we shared it with the Ethereum Portland group and then John shared it with his other groups. So it wasn't all crypto, but people who are online basically like doing shit, whether it's talking shit or making shit or whatever the hell it is.
Both.
So we got, what did we have? Like 10
people,
people, I guess.
For something we just tossed together. It's not bad.
Yeah. And we met this guy, Kevin, in Mexico City last March, like a year from this March, 2020, right when COVID was starting. And he's in Portland and like he showed up again. He just started getting into Web3.
Scott, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Scott knew him and then we knew him through Mexico. It's just small world stuff.
It's just weird. Yeah.
So then we're doing another one tomorrow.
Fun.
It's so interesting that like in-person meetups are not being replaced.
No.
You would think by now it would be digitalized. Like, there is a Zoom.
Yeah, it's so much more fun to do this. Like, I mean, I think you do both because like you get to feel out people in person in a way that you can't really through Zoom. Like there's just I don't know. And then like
It's
people
also
want to
nice-
be around other people.
It's nice to share food with people, like you're eating with people and like having a drink. Like, it's not really a big drinking culture. Like you don't have to drink, but I don't know. There's just something nice about sitting in a place and like imbibing. I mean, it's just a weird human thing.
It felt like being in a city for the first time in a long time. Like we were out, there's people, there's new people, like this person introduces you to that person, like, you know.
And it was cool too, because we're meeting people from the internet who are like, I've seen you online. I know who you are basically because we're friends on Twitter or someone introduced them to like, oh, these people are making this thing. So it's like a cool kind of, and I was like, oh yeah, I recognize you too from Twitter. It's cool, like merging of worlds.
will it ever be replaced by internet?
Not completely.
I don't think so. I mean,
I mean,
no.
everything is getting meetups. Like not Buckingham, but what was the other one? So Tumblr started doing all of these meetups,
Yeah.
which in the beginning I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. This is probably just a fun party or whatever.
Yeah.
But that grew the whole thing and started the whole thing. Then Framer started doing it. Then Sketch started doing it. Then basically all of the tech companies are now doing it.
So there definitely, there's a thing, like I helped do research, and like when I first started working online more and with technology more, helping look into remote work. And most, like it was more common with tech companies before other companies, and then everybody started doing it with COVID. But there, what do they call it? So there's like a continuum between asynchronous and synchronous and remote and in person. And there's something for work that if you're not getting together with your company, and like for bigger companies, they might only do it once a year, but there's something about being in person that sort of, I met this one guy who basically likened it to a battery. You have to recharge your battery. There's something about being in person that you like connect, you get filled up, and then it sort of depletes over time that you can sort of like re-enter. It's weird. It's a people thing. Like it's energetic that we could do some of the energy transfer and exchange of information over digital, but there's something about the fidelity of it in person that makes a difference. And it didn't matter what company you were talking to, big or small, or what kind of product, everyone was like, you have to do the in-person thing at least once a year.
Yeah.
And like, if you can, get everybody out, because it's a connection thing. You feel connected to something. It feels real.
Yeah.
So not yet. Maybe our brains are changing though, slowly.
That's so interesting to me. Pretty
Yeah.
much everything has been replaced digitally, but then the power of meetups, especially if you want to do a community, the real world kind of part of it is still so big part of it. Without it is, I mean, Notion pulled it off, I guess, without the physical meetups. But then they have a huge library of content, how to become an ambassador and then do your own thing and then go teach people about Notion.
They are really good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the culture of the people that you're serving or creating in your community, like part of what we're doing is the online stuff and the offline stuff should intermix with each other. You should be able to move fluidly between the two, because that's what life is like. If I had to just be on a computer all the time doing, it's not a life I want to live. So I don't know, like that's not for everybody. Some people can sit in their room with the like headset on and like a gamer chair and do that for 20 hours straight every day. That's fine.
Well,
and
some people don't want to go out for whatever reason, which may or may not be healthy for everybody. And then there's other people who won't even, like, it's funny having this conversation because there's plenty of people in the world right now that would just be like, I don't know what you're talking about right now.
I don't want to get online.
Like,
for
what
anything.
is the digital, like, what's the online? I mean, they know now because of COVID, but most people are like, I'm curious, actually, this vernacular, this story has sort of died down a little bit. When do things go back to normal?
Right.
Is this just a holdover? I wonder if people are getting used to the digital stuff. They probably missed the in-person though, because they didn't do this before.
Yeah.
2 years is not long enough either.
No.
It's crazy that it's been so long.
Yeah.
Still going. It's really like, it's surreal sometimes. I don't know. I think I've heard a few people talking about how the new normal is just COVID being around and talking about what that's like long term, which is interesting. And they're not freaking out. They're just sort of like, I'm trying to get used to it, trying to figure out like what that's going to feel like. No one knows exactly, but yeah, masks, like travel restrictions, like all of that, just people are, I don't know, accepting it a little bit more. They don't like it, but
I mean, this is like what it was like after 9/11. There's all these things that happen, and
true.
like now you got to take your shoes off, and you got to like you can't go to airports anymore. They're like bunkers and all kinds of stuff. And this is another one of those. Like you get these slow measures like creeping in to like try and protect everything, and some of them make sense, a lot of them don't. Like the bureaucracies are controlling a lot of these things. Like, yeah, I don't know, it depends on where you live in the sort of information sphere. Like if you're getting your information from places that are like more normative, then I don't know, the whole thing must feel crazy. But I don't know. That's the thing, there are always these like sort of underground communities and stuff like this, or things that are a little bit further out from normalcy, where I don't know, that can be your normal. That's been usually where I like to play.
Yeah, I think it's gonna hit you differently when you need to go take the other shot when the time runs out. What is it now? 6 months?
Yeah,
For
Shit.
I don't know what it
like
is.
booster shots.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't followed this, but our friend April was telling me that the Moderna, you might not need a booster shot because the efficacy like stays high. And we got Moderna, and I was like, oh, that'd be great. I don't know. I haven't looked into any of it.
Yeah. I don't know, whatever. It's easy enough. You get the shot, feel like crap for half a day, and then move on with your life.
Yeah, we have friends that live in France, or are about to live in France, or no, they just moved.
They just moved to.
They're French, and they had to wait a long time, like longer than what it was in the States, same as you, to get the vaccine. And it was just funny talking about it, because I think Kev was like, "Oh, it wasn't that big of a deal," and she was like, "I was like late," like she was just like, it was like a nightmare for a day. Everyone has a different response. We had a friend too, like, I mean, people, that's another thing that I've heard people talking about too, that we're all probably going to get COVID at some point, and like what your experience is like is going to vary. So we had a friend get COVID, and he wasn't vaccinated, and he's like, I had a headache and I didn't feel right, so I got tested, and that was it. It was like one day.
It's like, fine.
It's like, what? I got vaccinated, I had COVID, and I was like, I don't know, laid out with like the worst cold I've ever had for 3 days.
Yeah.
I was like, how does that make any sense? I have like an overactive immune system, I think.
I didn't get it at all because my body is perfect.
Yeah. That thing is so weird when partners, like, and we were sleeping in the same bed. Who knows?
That is actually, yeah.
Weird, right?
Yeah. And yeah, I'm thinking I must have gotten it somewhere. We were like this close every single time.
Probably.
Yeah.
Feel really weird for a while at any point in time. He's like, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's so much of it is just so mental thing. Yeah. I actually do feel fucked up. And then you just watch a good movie, or you just get your mind off of it. And actually, I'm not sick.
I'm fine.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like anything else. It's like a flu. It's like a thing. You get sick, you get better.
Yeah.
Or you don't.
I mean, that's the weird thing though. Like the thing about COVID that's fucked up is, like, my sister was sharing the other day, one of her friends' stepdads passed away from it. So it's like, some people, nothing happens, and then someone else who is seemingly healthy dies. And like, it's, I don't know. My mom's had it. So, and she was okay, but it makes you wonder, especially about the older people that are in your life.
Yeah. My grandmother just got it. She's
like 90.
She's 90. She just had a fall. Like she busted herself up. Then she went into like, a care facility or whatever it is. It got in there, and then like 15 people got COVID. And
sure
she's
some
recovering.
amount of them died, but grandma's just like,
she's like, it's fine, whatever.
Grandma was ready to go. She's
like, get me the fuck out of here. Why am I?
I'm ready to leave this earth. And then, no, you're not done yet.
No,
you're still going.
You
She's
keep going.
just like, okay.
Yeah, indestructible. Yeah.
I would like to see her. I hope that she's still on the upward trajectory, because it'd
I
be
mean,
fun
and
to
she's
talk.
out of that place and she's recovering. So
It'd be fun to talk to her just about the
what-
experience, like, I don't know, just older people and their experiences with health stuff. And like when you're getting to the point where you could die any day and you're just okay with it,
yeah.
talking to these people is so wild because they don't care anymore.
No.
They're like, there's this feeling of,
Like, oh, you're having trouble with your work. That's funny.
yeah,
Why does that? Okay, keep that up. I'll be dead soon. You can whatever.
doesn't
It's fine.
matter. Yeah.
I mean, it's like the memento mori or whatever it is, like the meditations on death,
Mhm.
like are, you know, one of the things that can sort of like relax you inadvertently because you're just like, oh, who cares? I mean, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. I think
that energy is useful. It's helpful.
when you get really old too, I remember because I worked with a guy who was in his 90s. He had founded the organization that I worked for, and he would come hang out at the office. He'd still put a suit on every day, and he'd come and he'd read the newspaper, and he wanted to talk shop when he wanted to. And I remember asking him what it was like being older and like all this stuff. And we talked about death too. And one of the things he said was, well, first they go on memory lane because they've lost people close to them. So like, especially if you've lost a partner who was like your like
Yeah.
partner in life, they want to talk about that. And then they're like, and then all of your friends just start dying. So at a certain point, you're just like, I don't like, it's fine. Like if I die, like there's no fear or anything. They're like
Yeah.
the people close to you, it just happens. And it's so odd, like how at peace they are. So here's this conversation.
Truly,
The people I've talked to, but they've lived like good lives. Like they've come to like, there's an enjoyment. Like even my grandma, Baba, she passed away from COVID, and towards the end, she was sick and like, she didn't want to be here anymore. She's just like done.
Yeah.
She's doing the thing talking about, you know, all of her past, but her big story was always, I came and I lived the American dream. She's like, I had a good life. And like, her life was fucking hard though. But she's just like, it's fine. Like, I don't need to be here anymore. Like
Yeah.
I've done everything that I wanted to do. It's been like, I got to see my grandchildren. So there's grow up. Like, I don't know. It's all framing. Like if you feel like you've lived your best life, I guess, and you can get there. I think anybody can get there. It's helping people see that they did the best that they could do.
Yeah. If you have like, so one of those things is like, okay, I aspire to have that level of like, this is a meditation or a contemplation. And I do this occasionally because I still have a complicated relationship to the fear of dying. But like generally the idea that like you can use it as a guidepost, like are the things that I'm doing right now in this moment, the kinds of things that a person who is fine with dying would do? Because if no, then fucking change something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because that makes me flip out. I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like if I die tomorrow and I'm doing this dumbass thing right now, then something is wrong, right? So like change it. Like you can, it's not easy, but like there is at least a conversation to be had there. So I don't know. Like right now we're making this game.
If I died right now, yeah.
I would like to
Right.
see it out. I want to know if people are going to have fun with it, right? Like I'm not ready to die. I got a lot of stuff to do. But like, you know, I feel more comfortable with what the things that I'm participating in the world, the things that I'm learning, the kinds of, you know, like, and yeah, it's not perfect. there's all kinds of crap in there. But like, you know, when I'm in deeper meditation or something like this, and like things are okay. It's fine. It's going all right. What's this?
It's funny.
That's the only mental image that popped up whenever you said that.
Live each
Yep. Basically.
one thing
There
that
is-
popped into my mind with this, I don't know why, was if I did die like around now in my life, it'd be interesting. Like doing these videos, my family would probably watch them because they would have been like, what was she up to? Like, what were like, because they kind of know, but they would want to like, okay, like she's been really involved with Dave, and like, I don't even know if they know about the YouTube channel. And then there'd be this whole thing where they're like, okay, so this is what Kristen's been up to for the last like year of her like life, basically, which is kind of cool. Like you give to leave something behind like that shares with the rest of the world, which is the whole point, because the people that we were yesterday even are not here. We're, we're moving on.
Every day is a death.
We're doing this as a memorial to ourselves.
Future memorial. Yeah, we're making it so
I mean,
go ahead.
That project that you guys are working on too, that thing is really timeless.
Yeah.
It's got something to it. It'll fade. It's fun for now. I don't know. But I think, it's more in alignment with like something that you look back on and are like, okay, like there's like some philosophy to it. There's some execution to it. It's still fun. Like it's balancing all those things. I don't know.
Well, yours is gonna be the naked guy in the middle of the art.
I mean, if it doesn't have a naked
That's
guy
Dave.
in the middle of it, yeah, that's me. The naked guy in the middle of the art. It's a self-portrait. It's like Cloptic self-portrait.
That's a cool branding here.
What is it?
That's their logo. The ribbon, I don't know where I took it from, but
it's good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really good. Things like this, joy of my life. Seriously.
Joy of my life.
Yeah, like this is what makes me tick. Oh, that's a good logo.
It's fine.
Doesn't take much to make me
Logos are fine.
You're gonna be a funny old man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
When I was a kid, they didn't have things like this. They had really nice logos.
The only thing that matters, 3 bars that look like an M. See?
On a stone. Wow, it's etched in.
Yeah, it's calligraphy.
Why?
It's M's new logo.
Not sure. Huh?
It's M's new logo.
Yeah, right. They just change it to this. Yeah, well, I guess if you want to start anything else, we have a logo for her right now.
Perfect.
Just go steal everything out of the resort.
Just make it pink, then it's different.
Just make it pink.
I mean, that I've been sort of playing with this, like a lot of what we're doing is just cobbling together stuff that other people have done.
Yeah, I know.
Because I sit there and I'm like, I want to make a new one. Like, why? There's just, who cares? There's so many people out there who just fine. Somebody's already done a good one. So take it, remix it, stick it out. It's not that, and then it's fine. It's fun. Like people get to use, they don't notice anyway. Like do a good one as much as you can, but like, yeah, like the pixel thing, like just stick some stuff together. It kind of get the idea. As long as it's fun to make, then it's okay. But like, yeah, sitting there and like banging my head against it to try and make a knife, it's pointless. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I keep doing this thing. I'm like, all right, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to spend like 5 minutes on this, draw it, put like that coin or whatever. Like,
5 hours away.
Just put it out there and I send it to everybody and they're like, this is great. And I'm like, yeah, but this is broken and that doesn't work. And they're like, we don't see any of that shit. No one cares.
It was fun. Dave described to me how he made it too. Cause I asked him later, cause everyone's like, oh, this is great. And he's like, it's not great.
The
And
pile
I
of
was
crap.
like, what is that? Like, what's going on? And so he told me, he's like, well, I went and did this and I found this. And then I drew the thing. Like, I was like, how'd you do it? And he told me, it was like a kind of quick and dirty. And I'm just like, if I did the same thing, then you would know what bad looks like because he still has skill. So
well, I know. So like we were looking through all, I went and found, all the pixel interfaces like that people have made like on the web, like, cause people make these things cause they're pretty simple, right? Like you don't have to like do a ton of math and stuff like this. And so there is a lot of like sort of free, like pixel drawing interfaces and they all handle things differently. And so as we're building these, like I'm trying to figure out what behaviors make the most sense to put in the thing. And the nice thing is that the guys we're working with care about that stuff. So like they want it to work right, because if it doesn't work right, people won't use it. So the best way to do this is like, look at, this is how they do this. And then they can reverse engineer it and then we can build it. So I just have a bunch of tabs open with pixel interfaces and I'm sitting there just doodling and making stuff and seeing how they work. And then when it came time to like make a coin real quick, I'm like, okay, I'll use this pixel interface. I draw, because it's got a circle tool. Then like they can fill it in and then I just screen cap it and then throw it into Figma. And then like, you know, but it's a piece of shit, like, because I'm doing it so fast. It's fine. No one cares. It's fine. That's part of it. And then we saw on the internet the next day, somebody had actually done a coin in like 3D,
like 3D
with all this crazy
rendered,
lighting,
yeah.
and they like modeled it all out and it's spinning and it's like the most perfect thing. I'm like, yeah, but that's what it looks like in my head.
Yeah.
You know, in real life, it's this like jaggedy, half broken thing, but it's charming. So it's fine.
Yeah, there's a thing here where, so this is a thing I feel like, Dave, that you sort of balance. You could be an artist in the visual art and like spend all of your time doing that, but you're not drawn to it because there's another art, which is sort of the product of the thing or the business of the thing that's more engaging to you. You're just, I don't know, you've got the ability to do lots of different, I don't know, what's the word?
I can do a lot of things to like 15% of good.
More than that. But like
16%.
You meet artists like Jade and she doesn't give a fuck about anything. She's like, I'm going to make the fucking art and I'm going to make a good one. And I'm in a community of people and we're supported. Like they're artists, like they're creating visual art. That's their thing. I don't know what that's like. It's a different world.
I've also been around these people and I see how hard they have to work. And I can't work that hard.
But they can't not do it. Like they're not going to not do it. If you take the art away from those people, they get sick. Like they go crazy. Yeah, we were talking about this too. People who are super into art as craft in the sense of they're making something and they're in like art communities. Oftentimes they don't know what's going on in the like bigger context of where their art is being made, like what's going on in the economy that might influence this. And they're just like, what? I don't like, why would I know that? So they're vulnerable in a way because their creativity is being protected from all of that, which is good because then they can make good art. But this is where I think there's partnerships between artists and product makers, business people, because it all has to come together. Because like the people that do business and product, they're not on the front end doing the art work. They're on the front end doing their version of art, but there's something here that makes sense that we have to work together.
Yeah.
And not take advantage of artists because this is just what happens all the time. Like, because
that's what's been happening. That's changing around a little here.
Yeah, but in the past, like that's what happens.
For a while.
Money people come in and they're just like, oh, I'll take this and sell this. And like, you don't know what's going on. So
you made that, that's mine now. Okay.
Artists are sensitive to this. Like we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
When people walk in the room, the digital room, and they don't care about anything else, you just, except for money, you just know because they don't have any idea what's going on. And they're probably literally just talking about making money.
Well, we talked about this with, I forget who, a few people, but like VCs, they like desperately want a piece of culture because, and then they want to buy it, but that's not how culture works. Like, and so they're so thirsty for it. I think they're not all VCs, right? Like some people who are investors like have a role to play and stuff like this, but yeah. And then you have artists who like have no money or have had no money. And so like, yeah, it's a weird sort of mix right now. And a lot of that is getting sort of turned on its head because currently like the artists have the ability to generate all of these things that are culturally like status. Like, you know, they are producing the things that people are interested in, right? They are viewpoints on the world. And Some of them are, you know, just sort of hype machines. That's fine. But the difference now is that some like economic levers are starting to fall in the hands of artists.
Yeah.
They can coordinate, and there is tooling that's being made that how long that lasts and if it can stay in that environment or if it gets locked into people who have a better, more sophisticated understanding of like creativity. But
Well, it's
I don't know, you get a lot of very creative people together, and if one of the like attributes of their ability is that they can organize, that they like to collaborate, that like they've got a bigger brain, so they can start doing things that like lift up all of them. So they have a tendency in this way. And like the mechanism for keeping everybody separate and having your own pools of money, like the artists are figuring out that you don't need to do that anymore. You can pool your money, not have to worry about it yourself. You can spread the worry across a larger pool and everybody is doing all right. Like they can continue to make better work. And the people who like, they can, it's collective organizing kind of thing. Which that can stand up to the larger sort of, yeah, anyways.
Everything is decentralized. Like even power and money can be decentralized.
Yeah.
So the tooling on that front, as long as people who like us, like understand how the technology works and how things can be decentralized. And there's lots of people, at least early on in Web3 doing this, they're offering tools out so that anybody can use these things. Like anybody can decentralize power effectively. The big question will be governance type stuff and how and finance tools, like as that becomes more sophisticated, because organizing people and bringing money into the equation and keeping that distributed. I mean, it's possible in Web3 because the technology allows for it, but the nuance, like this is, someone tweeted out the other day about how basically the Web3 stuff is not a silver bullet because you still have people.
No.
People need to coordinate. It's a social human function.
Yeah.
It can align with the tech, but it's not the technology. It doesn't know what to do. It's not alive like we are. I mean, you can program it to be alive, but we program it.
It's the same way that the printing press afforded democracy. It allowed a lot of people to have an understanding of what was in texts. It allowed a lot of people to read, right? And then once you have a population that can read, then you have a population that can think differently.
Yep.
And then that requires a new organization, like organizing principles. I don't know. The part of the thing that I'm thinking a lot about is that like, so there's going to be a lot of artists and creative types who are going to get rich here potentially. And they don't know how to be rich. And I don't know that it's necessarily good for them to be rich in that sense. Like they are wealthy in other ways. So this like mentality of like operating your business from a place of sufficiency is a thing that I've been writing a lot. And sufficiency is like this concept of you have enough, like, and anything above enough can go back into having other people have enough. And if you have people around you who have enough, then you can all have enough. And then that continues, you get to make better decisions. And you know, like you can go off and see what it's like to live in luxury and doing all that stuff is fine. You should understand if that's something that you're called to, but where is your enough line? And is that a line that helps you like operate in the world? And so you don't have to worry about it all the time, like getting more or getting, whatever it is. So I don't know. There is some operating principle in the governance stuff around money coming in that like you have a group of people around you who are like, all right, so we have things that are valuable. We are offering something into the world. There is a lot of resource coming in and we could all get massively wealthy and all own big houses separately. Fucking why? Who cares? Right? Like, but how can you then find your sufficiency point within the group, within yourself, like so that you can continue to play this game in a way that is interesting and challenging and all these kinds of things. So this is part of the like ethos around the governance stuff that I think is necessary to continue to play. And there's different levers on that, right? Like there are certain times where profit is necessary, right? Because you need to have a fair bit of resource coming into the system.
Yeah, because shit costs money.
but profit should be oriented towards sufficiency. Like it's in service of sufficiency rather than like just keep getting profit. What the fuck is the point? You just have piles and piles of shit that you can't use anywhere. So anyways, this is a lot of like what I think this level of thinking is necessary to like make the decisions to create these like organizational structures that can continue to be enjoyable to be in. But I don't know, we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully we're going to get a little bit of a chance to do this with this project, the first one, and we can make other little projects that like they have money coming. I mean, and so the way I'm thinking about the business side on our end, like what is the percentage take on any of the stuff that we're doing, right? Like what is, you know, it doesn't need to be 90%. I've done 90% margin businesses. And
well, when you do that, so what happens then is you have your little fiefdom and then you have
Yeah.
to hire people in
oh,
and
it's
then
fucking terrible.
you're responsible for like their livelihood and
Don't
like
want it.
that pressure. Like it's not a pure relationship anymore. Like they are dependent on you. It's like
Yeah, you're like a fucking king. And then everybody's
it's
like,
not as fun.
no, it's not.
Because you're the one that has to be the adult all the time and they're like the child. Like, but
And nobody, I mean, it's
people don't like that. I mean,
no,
maybe some people do, but
it's a way to do certain types of things. But
it's stressful.
yeah, so the alternate to that, like, and I'm starting to feel into it in the smallest ways, like, okay, so we have some technology and that technology allows, say, artists to be able to produce works that can go out into a market and get them paid, right? So it's a like, think about it as you know, a Photoshop directly connected to a market, right? Or something like that, right? Tooling like that. So like you go into Figma, you make something with other people, and then it gets put out to market and money comes back to you immediately. And that money can be significant potentially. So for the operation of that whole thing, creating the ecosystem and maintaining the ecosystem and helping steward the ecosystem so it continues to benefit the people using it, like there should be some maintenance fee or whatever, some taxation on that kind
Like
of thing.
infrastructure. Yeah.
But it has to be fair and it needs to be, you know, set up in such a way that it can continue to develop like the mentality of the ecosystem. And that needs to be in relationship with the people who are using it. They should have a stake in this. And so right now I've got, I think 12% is a good, like, I don't know why, I like it. It seems fine. 12% take on future sales of the artwork. So anytime that artwork changes hands, 12% comes back to the treasury. And like, the more people are trading, the more the treasury. And if the trading stops, that's fine. The money stops, right? Like, okay, that's how much money is available in this market. It's a simple like way of doing this. And it may be too much, but early days, we need more capital potentially coming in to build up the ecosystem. Then that number should drive down to a place that's sufficient for the operation of the business. Like, so you have levers like this, and it should also have money coming in from like grants, potentially like people who want to see like, and we're offering out based on this money, like basically the technology that we're building is offered as a public good so that other people can build on top of it. Right. And so that, you know, maybe there's some reward down the line for doing that, but it doesn't matter because we get to continue to play. So like, this is how I'm starting to think about structuring these businesses. It's really rudimentary for right now. And I think it needs a lot of work, but yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to see that you can do this. You build these things and then you take a little bit of the success of everybody else. It's kind of like a talent agency in this way. And the people, as long as the people that you're doing this for and they're happy and you're happy, it's not a bad business. So I don't know.
You seem excited about it.
I think it's possible now.
Like it's alive for you.
I'm starting to see the possibility of doing this in a way that
Is sustainable.
it's functional for now.
Yeah.
It might work.
Well, the idea is sustainability, right? Like
Yeah.
that you're building a sustainable way of a group of people working together.
Like a large group of people. You don't have customers. You have peers who are like making things through the things that you're building, and you share in
Yeah, it's
the profit of that thing.
It's interesting.
With
Like
the lion's share going to the people who are using your products.
the artist rendition of this that we heard from Jade was like, there's all these different roles in the ecosystem where there's investors who are just flipping things. And then there's collectors who are, they also flip things, but not like there's meaning behind the thing. There's artists, and there was someone of the other role, fans. So you've got like this group of people that are all like kind of hanging out. It's like a community, and everyone has their different role. And like even the collectors, like they have relationships with the artists, and they do, sometimes they're like, I need money, I'm going to flip this piece. And there's no hard feelings. It's like, there's like an understanding of like what people, like what their relationship is to the work.
Yeah.
Because it's all necessary for the whole thing to work. Which is cool.
It's like figuring out like how your ecosystem works, your ecology, like, and how you're supporting all the players in the ecology so that it's balanced. And I think this is balancing the budget. It's balancing the treasury.
Yep.
It's monetary policy, which is way above my pay grade, but you can see how you play with it with a little toy.
I mean, it's not really though. It's smaller scale.
Need more people to think about it with.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah.
What's the VC version of this?
Everyone's trying to figure that one out.
There are a few models.
Crowdfunding version of it.
So
Or yeah.
Vitalik Buterin talked about like a little bit of this. So in the case where there is, so from the perspective of an ecosystem thing, right? Like you've got, say, somebody operating in the Ethereum ecosystem, and there's a lot of, there's a certain type of energy there, right? And there are people for whom they are making a decent amount of money, like in Ethereum or otherwise or whatever. And so now they are making their living and probably their projects and stuff in this ecosystem. They wish to see more of the ecosystem be developed in such a way that more people can build in that ecosystem. And the more people that have this mentality that like, we wish to continue and have the ecosystem be like robust. So there's an energy there, right? And for projects that are very useful, that help us all do the thing, like how do you reward those projects? And you may not know until after they are useful. So this is the concept of retroactive funding. So like money is being set aside effectively, or they're beginning to try to do this, where there are funds that for projects that are helpful to the ecosystem. And it's all, you can see the lineage on who made everything because it's all on the chain, right? Like after the fact, like you can potentially get money for doing something that is useful for everybody, right? So this is retroactive public goods funding. Like you are offering it to the public, and so that everybody can build with it so that we can all make money or all survive or whatever it is. And so that's one style. So if you're operating in this environment and you have developed some legitimacy within an ecosystem, you can do a token grant potentially, saying like, we are going to go out and try to build this thing. We don't know if it's going to work. We have no idea, but we have been around doing things and we understand the technology and we wish to give this thing out to the public. You can do a fundraise before you do this and also potentially get an exit from the retroactive public goods. I don't fully get how this works, but there's an aspirational quality to the funding that like you can work on projects that are good for everybody rather than just like having a bunch of profit that is centered on like an LP investor or something like this. And then it just gets siphoned out of the community and goes off into some big treasury that you'll never see offshore, right? So like this is, and investors can still put in like money and get returns on this, right? It doesn't like mean that the outside capital can't perform, but there's more symmetrical leverage here, because you've got a large community that is willing to support early works, you know, and there's a bunch of money sloshing around. There's enough money for everybody to go around. So, you know, do you need to have 100 times return or 1,000 times return on this stuff? I don't know. It's, again, it's efficiency. Like, what amount of like resource makes sense to continue this project and build it into maintenance and, you know, all these kinds of things. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that there are certain types of things, like, for instance, a project could do some kind of like token issuance so that people have like a vested stake, a crowd-funded stake, and you could have outside investment capital and larger stakes. They also have like tokens. You can decide whether or not they get governance rights based on these things, but you have a mechanism to bring in resource into the company or into the DAO effectively. That gives you enough money to start doing. You can also do like NFTs, like make a thing, put it out into the market, launch one of these things, and, you know, people get collectibles or something. You know, there's all kinds of little like models on this stuff. For things that are like heavy duty, hyper focused, like concentrated, you're going to make a corporation and like build some crazy thing. Venture capital still makes the most sense to do some types of these things. But I'm pretty sure a model will develop in the decentralized world for doing similar kinds of works. I don't know how far away we are from it though. Yeah. I'm going along this line that, like, if you build in the ecosystem, you show that you're willing to show up, you're showing that you understand how the general principle of the thing works. You launch a few projects, you engage with the community, and then you're like, we want to build a bigger one. People will show up and the money will show up to build a bigger one. And the amount of money that's there to build the bigger one is what you can do. Like, if you don't need to raise $100 million. I think honestly, that's killing a lot of projects. Like, you need to raise the amount of money that you can operate with to bring in the types of people that can build the thing with you, right? Like, don't raise too much money. Like, that's one of the bigger problems in this thing. Like, there's a ceiling on like how much you need, and then the overflow can so yeah, there's a bunch of like,
with Web3 too, the infrastructure costs of building technology are significantly lower because of how much utility is built into the ecosystem of blockchain itself.
Yeah.
And all of that is funded in its own way, where every time that you want to transact on the blockchain, you have to pay gas fees. So they're collecting their tax to keep the infrastructure up and running. There's all kinds of game dynamics for how blocks get minted and all of that. So that ecosystem, you get a lot, not for free, but you get a lot of utility structure, built in, like out the get-go. You can scale things, like you don't have to worry about servers, authentication, like.
Yes, like, so yes and no. Like, right now, the technology is still rudimentary on a lot of that stuff. You couldn't
possible though, using
building like a Facebook or something like this, like these bigger. So anyways, you
people
can't.
Don't want to build Facebook though. Like, that's not where people are exploring right now.
Yeah, anyways, bro, this is a separate thing. So believing that you can build in the same way that like a Web 2.
Not the same way.
So when we talk about scalability, that is something that it's in there. Like, so it's not a direct correlate with what you can do in the other stack right now.
Not at all. But like, getting 150 people on a canvas is scaling the thing to an extent, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are billions of people on like products right now. So it's understanding where the technology is in relation to what is possible with the thing. Because this is one of the big critiques about where the technology is right now. Like, oh, it's not possible to do the things that you can already do elsewhere.
Well, we can already do them. Like, I don't know, like, we're not trying to recreate things that we already can do. We're doing other things.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you just brought up scalability. This is one of these debates. Anyways, it's popping. So it's like choosing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I understand like that, but.
So it's about like, I guess what I'm pointing at here is like the like the ways in which you go about maturing the technology and like how the ecosystem plays out. So maturing the technology within Web 2 was primarily large amounts of money coming from institutional investment
Yep.
to rapidly grow network effects.
Yep.
You
I
know,
don't know.
these kinds of things. So
like you think about how people are trading using like DeFi.
mhm.
That's happening at scale.
When you say scale, what do you mean? Like,
I mean, hundreds of thousands, millions of people are using this thing.
hundreds of thousands, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how active. I mean, again, it's a comparison thing.
The
So
crypto markets are. I mean, it's
there's
pretty.
like I don't know how much. There's billions and billions of dollars in there, but like
There's
compared
trillions of dollars in there. It's like
in DeFi.
yeah, crypto markets have $1 trillion market caps now.
Yeah, the total market cap, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of Bitcoin stuff happening. Anyways, yeah.
I mean, the thing is growing
ecosystem is
too.
very
It's
immature.
young.
Yeah.
Yes. But all of that is built into the blockchain ecosystems, and like
Sure.
people are working on figuring out how to scale to like, you know, billions for everybody to use
Yeah.
globally. We'll figure out a way. It has the potential of doing that.
It has a legitimacy that like 5 years ago it didn't have. So, but it's easy to get premature on these things. Like they're still good for smaller projects,
Yeah.
right? So, and a certain type of project. I think that I think what we agree on there is that there is an alternate methodology for making types of things.
Mhm.
And my thinking on this is the ethos in which you bring money into the ecosystem and how you
Sure.
prop up those things, like, and what your relationship to scale is and how that looks is still.
Well, the scale thing and sufficiency also comes into play.
Yeah. So anyways,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. We're arguing about nothing.
Just talking about scalability,
Yeah.
what you get as part of the ecosystem, the cost that it's sufficiency stuff, the cost that it takes to operate these kinds of projects it's different because some of the operational costs are borne by, I mean, they're still costs, but they're borne by the blockchain ecosystem, and it's more efficient than because it's distributed doing it in Web 2 is kind of where we're at.
Well, we have a problem in the Web 2 stuff where a lot of the infrastructure is built by open source, and those people are starving effectively.
Yeah.
And then you have these gigantic corporations like gobbling up the resources and then putting more pressure on, you know, and then
Yep.
you end up with middlemen all the way
Yeah,
through.
it's
So
the game-
it may end up happening again with this, but as long as we can push that out, the better, I think. Then you have a foundation for more people who are happier working in a tech stack, which creates better outputs
Yeah.
all the way through the stack.
That's more sustainable.
Yeah.
It's the move from competitive game theory into cooperative game theory.
Yeah.
Because there's ways, like we're still playing games and there's like stakes, but if we can share the success and the burden, like, I don't know, distributed, like it's the way things work.
Mhm.
This is the way of the world.
It's the way.
It always has been, but technology is facilitating it more now. That's how people work. We work in collaboration with each other, in connection and network with each other. You can't isolate people. If you isolate people, they go fucking crazy. Like COVID.
Yeah.
Everyone goes nuts. Like even if we have the digital connection, like people still want the
Yeah, it's not enough.
in-person. Yeah.
Would TikTok fly without COVID?
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I think the remix and like,
People just love it.
yeah, the like being in a big collaborative, like creative mix together, people enjoy this. And then the art form that's developed on there where like it is this like improvisational, like embodied form, I think was missing. Like, because you have a lot of text, you have a lot of images, but like, where's the movement and musicality and all that stuff? So if it wasn't TikTok specifically, it would have shown up somewhere. And there's also, I mean, it's coming out of China. So there's like an understanding of the like collective
Yeah.
cultural
Interesting.
thing that is missing in a lot of American technology, because the American technology tends to be, or Western technology, I guess is better, but predominantly American, is like really individualistic. Like there tends to, the social networks are not like the ones you see in Asia, right? They're a very different breed. And so that sensibility, younger people in particular are growing up with. They're starting to see like more collective, like thinking in their media and stuff, because the internet shows you fucking everything. And it's more fun to do certain types of like creative behavior or whatever in groups and squads and this kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. I think that cultural movement was going to happen regardless. It just happened to come out of like a for-profit gigantic corporation, because those things can move fast, and they can coordinate quickly. So yeah, I don't know. COVID just spurred it on, because all you need is a bathroom and a camera, right? So like, it's simple in that sense. Like it's a simple set of tools that anybody can pick up and then communicate with. And people will, if you give them simple things that they can play with, they'll play with it because it's fun. So, and if they're learning something and it's engaging, so whether or not the environment is conducive to healthy behavior over the long term, I don't know. But yeah.
I'm hungry. Should I go get food and bring it back? Or I realized we should.
What do we got going on?
Check in.
We got to 1 to do Operation Potato.
Because I got some stuff pre-made. I can just throw it in a bowl.
Don't know. How you feeling, Farzad?
Sounds good. I'm in.
I'll do it then.
Does any of this matter to you at all? We're just talking about nonsense.
I mean, at one point I need to get up to speed with all of this. So all of these in the library that I'm building,
Yeah,
with everything that you're talking about, gonna come handy later.
yeah. I mean, we've got active projects, which, like, I was talking to Pascal about this, and like he's sort of on the fringe, and like he's figuring out like his relationship to moving into this tech stack, and sees a bunch of the dumb crypto stuff and all the money that's there. And, it takes a bit of like seeing past it into where the actual value is, I think. And my suggestion to him is like, let's just make some stuff. Let's play together. Like, be around while we're like making one of these things, so that you can see what it feels like to be near it, and then toss in a little bit and be like, oh, that's how that works. This is how I've been figuring out how to make anything here. So, because there's no, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, you have a standing invite on all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, the last time I got, like, you guys started something that was like a 4 a.m. my time.
yeah,
that's way too late.
yeah. I mean, that's the one problem with all this. Yeah.
But fuck. One of the things that I need to kind of try to figure out is but one of the thing has been, I've been starting so many things, and some of them are just on hold.
Yeah.
For no reason. Basically, they're just ready to go. We just haven't clicked it. And that click of launching something or bringing it out is like how to bring it out, so it doesn't go unnoticed. Surprisingly, the social media stuff are doing well. We can't fucking figure out why Dribble is giving us a hard time sometimes. with the views and how we messed up the algorithm somehow by just deleting a few shots. I don't know how they rated it, but apparently if you do it, it hurts you. And then we are kind of not really sure what's happening, but we are not even getting half of the engagement that we used to get with the similar type of product designs that we're doing. Then I need to figure out a way to not spend 3 drops money on these kind of things, especially OFC. So for OFC, I need a partner.
Yeah.
Or I will need to go as I've been doing for the next 6 months and see if it plays out or not with the new marketing team, which I think it will, narrowing down the whole focus of roadmap to just agencies. And we've been doing demo calls and calls with existing customers, and everything just makes perfect sense. But I'm like, all right, I'm bringing a partner to OFC. Most people, like all of the VCs, are interested in investing in Slim. I don't want to start Slim yet. It's half built to a point where we could use it for roadmap to figure it out. But I'm all right, like crowdfunded, but then what would that mean? And then whatever 3 drops doesn't have that next thing lined up, like everything else kind of little bit shakes, because that's the one that is funding everything.
Yeah, I don't know. This is like finding alignment with what you're trying to accomplish. Like it's hard when you have a lot of these things and they don't know what they want to be yet.
Yeah.
Like, and part of it is like figuring out your mechanisms for listening to what the things want to be. Like if VC is like knocking on the door of the thing, maybe that one wants to be a VC thing. I don't know, right? Like this is but yeah, if you don't have your umbrella sort of mission on like how all these pieces are going to tie together, it can be tough. So I don't know. I think you're taking a break and then like trying to give yourself room to think is not a bad plan. Like it's uncomfortable, but sometimes you have to shut it all down to like listen to what's happening. I don't know. I mean, you're also going through this change right now where you're like trying to readjust your relationship to all these properties. Because it's easy to start them. You can do that. You can pull together, but like it keeps coming back to like you need people to build this stuff with, like because you're the weak link in the thing. You're the choke point. Like you have people. I'm not saying, but yeah. Say again.
Marketing. If I had half of 10% of what she has with the influencer thing, but in tech, it would boost things to a degree that it just pays the salary of the people that are working on that thing until it figures out what it is that it needs to become.
I mean, so my, like, when you say marketing, you mean, what do you mean by marketing? Give me your definition of marketing.
Getting out of our circle and reaching other groups that enjoy the same thing.
Okay.
So with 3 drops, we are just running around the same circle with the same type of people that like us. We don't connect to others' network as often. Maybe once a month, we get discovered by something, and then it just pops up on everything, and then everything gets a boost.
Yeah.
They're not often enough for it to grow consistently.
Okay. So
broadening your market then.
When you go into other groups, like what in just life, like what is your methodology? Like, so that, I mean, you can bring it down to the ground. Like you're in a new place and you need to go into a new group. Like you need to understand, like, how do you go do this? Like you can walk into a room and if those people don't know you, like, what do you do? Right? Like, what is your strategy for doing that? Like, do you go in there and like, here's all my cool stuff and look at me? People don't care because they're like, who is this fucking guy? We don't know him. Like, why is he trying to sell us shit? Right. So like, there is a part of this that I understand in marketing, and that when you go in there, like, know who the people are. Like, how do you know what they are? How do you get to meet them? Like, how do you get to learn about them? Like, how can you help them? Right. In the smallest possible way. So this is marketing to me. Like, this is going out and understanding a market and befriending people. And this takes some skill. It's nothing that you can produce ahead of time without knowing the people. So like, you have to go find the people somehow. And like, that's part of it, that
And develop a relationship.
that's
of
what
some
it is.
sort, right?
Yeah. Because then once you have a relationship, you're like, oh, I see, you're missing this. Like, or I can help with that. Right. So like, getting out of that circle is less of a putting on a show and a production, and it is more like on the ground at first, and then you can put on a show once they know you, right? Because they're like, oh, I trust this guy, this kind of thing. So this is I'm learning this a little, I'm imparting this because I've been struggling with this as well. And mostly I've been piggybacking on like John and Kristen, because they just go walk in everywhere and they're like, hi, how's it going? I'm John, I'm Kristen. Who are you?
What are you doing?
What are you up to? And then everybody's like, they love to tell you what they're up to.
They do.
And so there is some amount of like, of just socializing, of like creating new relationships. Like, that's what marketing is. Like, hey, what's up? That's it. Like, it's not a lot fancier than that. I think the bad versions of that are trying to guess what people are doing and then treating them like objects that you can like get intention or money from, right? Like, there is a difference in those activities. If you can just care about them psychologically, personally, relationally, then you can make them things that they need or they want or they desire or that will help them ideally. So this is a framing that I've taken with marketing a little bit lately. And I don't know if that helps at all, or if that.
It does. I think the more time I go back and forth on it, the more I kind of realize that's not really what I'm into.
Yeah.
That's why it's so difficult for me, that it doesn't come naturally, because I'm just really not that into it.
You don't need to be.
Yeah, right.
You find other
Building
people, like, you can learn, right? So through M, you're observing what she does and how she goes about it. Like with Kristen and John, like, I'm the worst at it. I'm not good at it, but they're good at it. And I'm like, oh, this is what their mindset is when they approach this. Like, John is like, he's interested. He's like, what are you doing? What's going on? Like, I'm not going to be that interested. It's not going to happen.
He's too much of a snob.
No, I'm too sensitive to the like relationship when it's not going. I don't know what the fuck is going on. So snobbishness can be a way to protect
Maybe
myself
that's like
from
the
that.
facade. Yeah.
Like, because I don't, but if you put me in the room with people, I'm like, who are you? What's going on? How's it happening? Like, what are you doing? That's interesting. What about here? Try this, So having people will get me in the room, then I can become interested. But I'm bad at ice breaking. I'm not good at that. So finding people that can get you in rooms and they love doing it, this is one of the things, right? And then I can offer whatever I can offer once I'm in the room, and I can learn how to get into rooms, like, oh, that's what this is. It's not that mystifying.
Get in the rooms.
Kristen.
Somebody with network? No, I mean, like, what type of a person?
I mean,
Someone who likes people.
yeah.
Nice.
And who's like, yeah, unlike you two.
Right.
Just genuinely like curious. Like, what are you doing? Not interested in selling.
No.
Like, they might be interested in paving the way, but they're not the ones interested. They're not thinking about like, how can I sell something to them? You're trying to figure out, like, it's like you're describing a market basically from the ground floor. What are you doing? Who are you? Like, what kinds of things do you need? Like, you're doing like an assessment. So there's sort of like, you have skills in being able to analyze people and information. But you have to be able to, not chameleon, but you have to be able to join. You have to go in and do the thing.
And you don't need to be important there. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to be cool. You just need to be there with people and talking to them and like them. Like, oh, what's up? That's it. This is what I'm learning. And then everybody has something interesting to tell you. And sometimes that interesting stuff happens to be in alignment with what you're doing. And that's nice because then you have a click. I'm like, oh, and then a partnership can develop potentially. But these things take time and they take, but it helps to have somebody who is very good to go in and like sort of scout things for you because they like doing that. And they get to do the thing they like doing, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a while too. Because like you have to learn about how it works and like why it's working and what's happening and what to do with all these people that show up. This is my thing.
What market are you trying to get into? Like, who are you trying to befriend?
Design agencies.
In Thailand?
Just global, anywhere.
You've started doing this, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started having calls and I kind of noticed what are the main issues, and I'm like, I can write an ebook about how I approach. The calls were fine, but I didn't spend enough time to get more of them with bigger agencies. Then I just stopped doing them because they just stopped being interesting.
So, okay, explain to me, I don't know if I'm just being dense here. So why design agencies? Because you're a design agency. Are you trying to learn what they do, or are you trying to collaborate with them?
Well, this is for roadmap, just kind of figuring out if all of the problems that we thought that we think they have, if they solve it, they would be able to be more successful at what they're doing. Just kind of, I guess, checking if all of our assumptions about our experience actually applies to other people's experience or not, and if the product that we build is good enough for us.
Yep. Because you
and-
rely on roadmap.
Yeah, and not only that, having a kind of a small community of agencies keeps you on a very good tab on what's coming up in
Yep.
tech. And that's just such a good thing for all of the other things that we are doing.
You've got your
Especially
sensors.
within, yeah.
So you want like a community basically of design agencies so that partially you could build tools for them, but partially you guys could be pals and help each other out kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the question then is for the people in those agencies is what are they missing like in community? Like, are they looking for the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, every call is kind of, there are always like a small groups of agency communities in different countries. That already exists. So most of the time I jump on a call, we're talking like, oh, we actually do this. There are a few of us in New York, or there are a few of us over there. I'm like, why isn't this a shared thing, a global thing? Not even like a Slack group where everybody can toss ideas and challenges and whatnot and grow together. And I guess I wasn't just active enough to continue reaching out to bring them onto the same plan or the same place, under the same roof, I guess, digitally.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this is just because agencies is what I know best. So just very much more approachable. And I have something to offer when it comes to the agency people.
Sure. You speak their language.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where Kristen, like half the stuff that we're doing and John to some degree, but Kristen primarily, she can organize and hold space and create a place for people. And then like make sure that they know what they're doing there and like how it's working and what to expect. And we've got an event coming up and like this, like I'm terrible. I mean, I know that all of this is vitally important, but I can't do it. Like, it's just too much. So like having somebody around who can help with that side of things. If you're going to have a place in a community, that community needs to be held at least until it can catch and hold itself. So like it needs to have, I mean, I don't know if that tracks with your experience, but
Yeah, I mean, also you have to be working on something that you care about too.
yeah, where you're just, you need a place to share what you're up to. And like, you'll do that whether or not there are people there or not. I mean, part of what we're doing right now is we just create the place and then we go do the thing in the place, even if there's nobody there.
Yeah, we started so small. I mean, it was just
Still
Dave,
tiny.
it was just Dave and I, and then John showed up because I met John on Twitter, and then he felt like he was one of us, and then he's got a friend CJ, and it just slowly.
And then it can't be like, it doesn't need to be anything yet. It'll just be what it is, you know? And then
Well, part of, I think, Farzad, what you're going through, I mean, this comes up from time to time, is do I want to do the design agency thing anymore?
yeah.
You bring what?
Or any of this, like especially the OFC. I think the biggest burden that I have is basically OFC. Especially the way the stubbornness getting there too, but the way that I want to build it. And I wonder most of the time is whether this is like very, very wrong decision to carry out to see time gonna solve it. Probably most things takes time. Or this is just a big fucking mistake that I'm just burning in all in just there.
I mean, probably both are true. So
Nice.
my experience, so I'm coming to you right now from like where I've got something that it feels like it might work, but it's taken like a year of just, why are we doing this? Doesn't feel right, or it does feel right, or I don't know, whatever. And then like the thing that I orient to is, are we doing a thing that we show up every week and it doesn't feel like the fucking hardest thing in the world? It's hard for different kinds of reasons, but not because it doesn't want to exist. There are certain things like projects that don't want to exist, and you cannot force them. Like I've tried, it doesn't
try it,
and it'll fucking just scream at you, stop it.
take a lot of resources.
And that screaming to stop it is usually a sign that you're like, for me, that I am thinking about it in a way that is not appropriate to what it wishes to be.
Yeah.
And that requires a new understanding, but you can't just make the new understanding. You have to try a bunch of different things. And some of those things are so counter to your personal way of seeing things. Like I had to just start looking through her eyes. Like, okay, like what does she see?
Wears me as a suit.
Basically, like, I don't know anything. She knows things. Like she invites a new person in and I'm like, why this person?
Yeah,
Why?
a lot of that.
Like, who is this person? Why are they here? And then so I'm like, okay, get interested, get curious about the person. Like, you know, something that I don't know. And then like, oh, that's why, like months later. You know, so it's a different perspective. I mean, part of our conversations here are doing this with each other, you know? So
I mean, the biggest part for me has always been, should I just say yes to the money or not? Or I should just continue bootstrapping it? And then the biggest worry that I have is that I'm like 6 months away from just unlocking it. And then I raise money now. And it's been like 4 years and I've been bootstrapping it all 4 years. And then now right at the end, I'm kind of giving up and I'm like, I'm gonna bring in a partner. I'm not gonna take the VC money. I'm not gonna go angel stuff. I'm just gonna bring a partner in. Yeah, that's
so what I know about you is that you can make lots of these. If one doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You can make another one. They don't need to be perfect. They just need to, you need to understand how they all work. So experiments are more important than it being perfect and being 6 months and you get the thing, you know, that narrative that you create. It might happen. It's the coin thing again. the shitty coin. A shitty coin that people enjoy and can use is better than the perfect coin that like
No one uses.
no one uses, right?
So with that
Anyways.
example, the 6 months, you could be 6 months away after having bootstrapped for 4 years and it takes off versus you bring someone in to help it take off. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. Or bring somebody in to become to, well, that person gonna take ownership over everything that OFC touches basically. But um but take the pressure away from just all of the salaries and teams and what needs to be done in order to just become a thing.
Yeah.
Um
Part of the question is, what role do you want to play?
Yeah.
Do you want to be the one that's bootstrapping it with that responsibility or not? Because yeah, I mean, yeah, that's part of it.
but that's the thing, yeah.
I mean, I think what's going on here is it's like, what do you want, Farzad?
Yeah, basically.
Because you get to choose. And like, you can choose to walk away too. Like,
Yeah.
you could do something completely different. And if that's what you wanted, we could talk about that. It's hard. Like, it's hard when you can, I mean, you're extraordinarily competent. You can do what you want in the world, which makes it difficult. And you've been doing one thing very well, and you could keep doing that in different iterations, and you could reinvent yourself that way. That's an option. You could do something completely different. That's an option. So there's lots of, how do you know?
Yeah.
This is where you should be journaling. I don't usually should, but
You should.
You should.
I
Because you
should-
don't, how do you know what is good for you? Only you really know. You could do it with other people, but noticing patterns and like what it
Yeah.
feels like. I was journaling the other day, and the thought of doing something different and writing down, it made me feel different. Like I was like, oh, I'm not feeling as stressed out. And I was like, that's crazy. I didn't know that's what I needed to do. Like all I had to do was write it down, do something different. And here's what I could do different. And my body was like, oh yeah, try that. Like, I don't feel as crazy now.
Yeah, there is a practice here of role playing that I think is usually like very helpful in this kind of thing.
Be the guy that does this, or be the guy
Yeah,
that
what
does
if
that.
what if I'm the guy who's like this? What do I think? And then you can literally write it or talk to yourself like you're that person. And
What does it feel like?
what does it feel like? I'm a guy who does this every day. I don't even think about bootstrapping. I don't bootstrap anymore. I'm a guy who raises money, or I'm a guy who doesn't do any of this stuff. What does that feel like? And you may have to like come back to it over and over again, but it's play. It's not serious. It's letting yourself like move into territory that you won't let yourself get into. Like, so this, for a lot of time with my writing, it took me a long time to let myself just write. I would sit there and I'm like trying to think out what to do next. And there's this insistent thing that's like, you don't have time to think about that. We have all this other shit to do. You don't have time to think about that. I'm like, what? Why? Who are you? And then I start writing the thing that I don't have time to think about. And it ends up being the direction that there's a solution, because I have not let myself do that, because I have all of these other conditions, because I need to be this person in the world. But that person is a fantasy. Like that image that you're trying to project or become, can't, it's the fucking fancy coin. Just do the shitty thing in front of you. You know how to do, like, but you have to let yourself like somehow communicate that to yourself. Like, because somewhere inside you, there's a direction that is more in alignment, but it may mean like ditching a bunch of your preconceptions about where you can be and how you can get there. Like all of the big fantasies and the things that you could arrange in the world if you had resources or didn't, or whatever the fuck, the thing that you can be right now that is easy for you to do is more comfortable and is more challenging than anything else. But how do you get into that? Like, there has to be some conversation with yourself where you're fucking brutally honest. Like, and that sometimes it's just like, for me, it's letting myself goof around. Be like, oh yeah, you can make a goofy thing. That's the best thing that you can make. Like, you don't need to make a big one that matters a lot or whatever. That may end up being the case, but whatever. I
wonder if there is let's just say not OFC, but for Sling, because it seems like it's so easy to raise money for it, apparently.
Mhm.
Raising money would be the end. What are the experiments to run before doing the raising? Because for the raising, I won't be the CEO of that thing. Somebody else needs to be. Then I need to go find that somebody else, because I don't think it will be Griffith. And build a small team, and then the money would come in, and then they would have their 1-year runway to launch it. But what are the alternative things that we could try until raising proper money? I mean, crowdfunding it is just,
So you want to give it like a last effort, basically,
yeah.
is what you're thinking.
Well, but I mean, yeah, basically, because once you raise money, there is no other alternative for an alternative, I don't know, funding way or pricing model or whatever it is that we want to explore and experiment with.
I mean, this is a bigger
Yeah.
focused conversation
Yeah.
on
This
that.
is a,
We can do that at some point, open it up and just hash it all out.
yeah,
if
we'd
you
have to
want
sort of
to.
take apart the whole thing to understand. Yeah.
We can do that too.
Yeah. Probably not right now.
No, not right now.
Yeah.
But we can, like, it's more of like a meeting. We're gonna go do this thing. But it would feel like this still. It would just be focused.
Yeah, I think a lot of this would be unpacking the expectations for what this thing needs to be, and then trying to find what it wants to become. And there is a path where there is energy locked up in this collection of ideas. And there are a bunch of smaller experiments that can be run if we understand what the nature of this energy is.
Yeah, basically.
So we have to understand it. Like, I don't fully get what you're doing in there. Like, we've talked around a lot of it, but a lot of this is locked in your head and what you see. So we need to probe it, which means like taking it apart and sort of laying it all out and being like, all right, this is what's going on here. And then dropping all of the assumptions on like where and what it is, right? Like, it's a business. It may not be a business. It may not be, who knows? So that's kind of the approach. I don't have like a particular plan there, but we'd have to feel into it. And sometimes like, it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing. It'll feel like, oh, that's the direction we can go, because it's a thing that you can do. So we're looking for that. Like, you don't need to arrange 50 things. Like, usually there's something that's like, that's a next step.
Yeah.
And you need to know that information before you can make the next step, right? Step by step by step, slowly.
Yeah.
Let the plan reveal itself rather than trying to plan it and then fill in, because the objective stuff, especially when you have this many objectives, too many things can go off the road, like, because you got this thing over here and this thing over here, and they need to connect over there, and you have to do 50. You'll fucking kill yourself trying to do this. Like, it's, yeah. So figuring out a different approach to that, I think, is at least a good practice.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're doing the work on this. It fucking sucks. It's hard until it's not. But this is how it goes. Like, I think a big part of, or what I'm sensing, and I've gone through similar things, is there is a beauty to coming up with these things and having them potentially work. But there is also a grief in letting go and letting them be what they need to be. So there is this balancing that, like, going through the process of this is where wisdom comes from. Like, like getting right with what these projects and these expressions are, like, and letting them be what they need to be, means like getting rid of how you see them, like how you project onto them what they need to be. And that can be, it's hard, it's sad. You're letting go a piece of yourself that is holding on to those things because they they are helpful in some way in orienting you to the world. But to grow, you have to readjust your relationship to it. You have to detach, you have to move back, look at them. And you're willing to do that. We're doing it now, but it hurts. It's like, it's painful sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, it's uncomfortable. It's like, but that's just what it feels like right now. And the more you can feel that, and the more that you can sit with it, the more that you can see it for what it needs to be. So it's, you know.
And it sounds like too, based on, because this keeps coming up in different ways too, there's some pain associated with staying in the same mindset that you've been in for however many years. So your brain keeps being like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I have to do it differently, which means you have to change. And the change is painful, but this is where the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. So it's a weird, like, it's going to be painful, a different kind of pain, but you'll come out the other side and you won't be living the everyday where you're just like, why am I doing this? How am I doing this? What happens? Like, it's like something's not clicking. You can get back to clicking. You have to go through some, it's like a mental like challenge, basically. You just have to shift everything.
Yeah, there's a way to get curious about the discomfort and then make friends with it. And you're like, oh, you're one of them growth pains. What are we going to learn now? You know,
it's
because
also exciting too. There's like the flip side of it where it's like, oh shit, I get to do something new. Like, I'm good at that. Like, I like new stuff. Like, I get excited about it.
Yeah. You don't have to do something new. You get to do something new. Yeah.
Yeah, something gotta change.
Yep.
I mean, you've been saying this. This is why we've been talking for all these months, I think.
Yeah.
There's a massive mosquito.
Ew, no.
Oh, really? There are billions of them over here.
They fucking love me. I probably can't go there.
Thanks.
They'll just eat me alive. I've got sweet, sweet blood. I'm delicious to mosquitoes.
I wonder what I should eat to just change that.
Yeah, right. I've been thinking about this.
Is it food though? I think it's, what is it? Metabolism? Do you give off more carbon dioxide?
I think, I don't know. No one knows.
You're just really gassy.
Basically. Delicious
CO2
looking.
gas.
Whatever their sensors are, they're like, that guy has the right blood for me.
It's great. If I go out with him, he just gets all of the bites and I don't really get anything because they're probably like, this is way better.
Yeah. I'm saying. I'm wearing pants and everything, and they still bite me. And then she's just like very
nothing, right?
Almost nothing. Yeah, but it's nothing touching her. That's so unfair. They go through my pants to kind of bite all of my legs.
Do you run hot? Are you like usually warm temperature?
Probably. I guess I like cold places, so I would say.
Yeah, I wonder if that's part of it. Does M get cold easy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I wonder if it's something with, if it is metabolism, like you're giving off heat so they can sense you more, and they can't sense us. This is why we're witches. We're like not like visible on certain wavelengths.
I'm gonna learn how to control my body temperature. Just like monks.
Maybe that's what you have to do. Yeah, it's not changing your eating, it's learning how you have to do like Navy SEAL training.
I mean, Qigong, this happens. You like go through hot spells and cold spells or whatever, because you're changing your like the way you
stuff around.
Yeah. So there's a particular thing, like when I'm like really stressed or I'm like working with something, I get hot and pissed, like because the energy isn't moving, right? It's stagnant. And so then I go do a Qigong and it's angry, but then I cool down. Like literally you feel cooler. So because it's not boiling or whatever the hell it is. I'm curious if that makes a difference. I do Qigong and then mosquitoes won't eat me.
I mean,
what's the name of that guy? Yeah.
Lee Holden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Which guy?
the guy that breathed deeps and then
Oh, Wim
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 Hof.
Hof.
Yeah.
yeah, that guy
That guy.
See?
become the student of that guy.
Yeah. He's nuts.
Yeah.
If I'm hungover and doing any kind of like movement stuff, I'll get really warm because there's like, I guess it's like stagnant energy or like stuff is like,
Yeah.
I don't know, getting that out of your
Booze or
like,
whatever,
yeah.
yeah.
It's just like it's harder to do everything, obviously, because the energy is like going somewhere else to process the alcohol, I guess. And then just overheat, not overheat, but just it's like way more
Yeah.
sweat and everything. Like it's just like it all needs to, it's good. I mean, when I was younger, I used to go running like after drinking, just get it moving.
Yeah.
It's the best thing to do. I don't know why. Just moving it out.
Let's process it.
Yeah.
So when are you guys gonna launch this? A week away, you say?
We
I
think
don't know.
so.
Yesterday. It's one of those. I mean, it's
There's little things we gotta get.
lots of little things
figured out.
popping up,
Yep.
you know, and then like we all want it to be good. So we're like, what if it did this? And what if it did that? You know, so we're
We've
good at,
slowed down that a little bit though.
yeah, but you know, it's kind of introducing us to a lot of the world. So like, you know, we're flipping out a little. So it's navigating that and then the actual technical things that need to be done. You know, we run into stuff every once in a while, so it's hard to tell, but it feels like a week or two somewhere in there, maybe. Like, we'll see.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
I think so. Now I have to not freak out.
Nothing to freak out about.
She says.
I mean,
She doesn't know. She doesn't know how well I can freak out about everything.
I know pretty well.
Mhm.
It's usually my area of that's my domain, supporting him when he freaks out.
Yeah.
Which is more or less getting out of the way.
Got to freak out, calm down, freak out again.
How do you calm down, Shigo?
Sometimes, yeah. Or just sit there and feel it.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit of time, like days, but he'll
Yeah.
chill out. Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, especially when we were like doing these meetups and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to do. Well, who is going to show up, and what are they going to be like, and maybe no one shows up, and like all these.
You're
fucking
like,
things.
well, then John, you and I are just at the bar having dinner. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's usually
fine.
finding the stance to be like, this is whatever. It's whatever your monkey brain is trying to tell you, that, like you're being hunted.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'm being hunted, but if I am being hunted, this is how we can, you know, so. And the more you do those things and you calm yourself down, the more you get good at doing those things and calming yourself down. So, yeah. Worst case scenario, you just drink a lot and don't remember anything. So that's fine.
That would be a bad scenario.
No, not great.
Don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's so anxiety provoking.
I can be charming when I'm drunk. So
Yeah, but the drinking till you black out, like, and don't remember, it's not fun.
I've only ever done that once. Don't like it. I like
How long was it blackout for?
I've only ever done that like the first time I ever drank. I was like, I need to know what it's like to drink. And I just got a bunch of like gin and just drank it all and then blacked out. And then I woke up and I'm like, why does anybody do this? I just didn't, because my parents never drank. I was never around alcohol
You didn't
really.
know
So I didn't know
what
how
was
to
up.
do any of it.
It's really funny.
And then like I trained myself to drink whiskey so I could drink a ton and not be drunk. And then
Trained himself.
basically, because everybody's drinking all the time in New York and Chicago. And so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I need to be able to drink because they just hand you fucking drinks if they're having a good time. So I need to, you know, and I'm like, I haven't ever gotten too drunk past a place or whatever. Just they hand you something and you hand it to somebody else. These kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Do you
anyway.
still drink or you don't drink anymore?
No, we had beers yesterday.
Yeah, we drink like in moderation.
Yeah, not very often.
And then we go through like waves. Like in Portland, there's a lot of bars, so it's kind of fun. But
Yeah.
it's usually one or two drinks like not more than that.
Yeah, my body doesn't like it anymore.
My body
It's-
really doesn't like it
It's
either.
not worth paying back. So
Yeah.
there's too many things to do and things I'd rather not feel like death.
Yep.
So weed, I can do weed. But I'm starting to fall out of love with that now too. They all have their purposes for a while. They teach you different states and how to be in them. But yeah.
Well, what's the reason now with weed?
It's just I've learned what I need to learn from it. Like there's
What did it do? Help slow things down?
help slow things down. Like, especially when I'd be like freaking out about something, like
You could
I'd be
look
able
at
to, it feels a little nice. It changes your perspective. And then I could write and like let myself play because I'm like too loopy to be something else. Then I stabilize the ability to do that in the same way that the whiskey, like I can take it anytime, which means that I can be in that state anytime. So you're just practicing the state. It has different effects for different people, but for me, it knocks back the anxiety feedback loops. It can, certain types of weed. I let myself be creative there. Like, oh, I'll try to be a weird stoner guy and draw all the time and goof around and whatever. That's fine. I don't need to be doing anything important right now. That's important, obviously. And it let me understand like, oh, this is, and then I would share the stuff that came from that state. I'm like, oh, I can do this without it. So, but sometimes, yeah, social things or like I'm meeting a lot of new people and I start flipping out or whatever. I'd be like, it's fine, whatever. You could do this stoned. It doesn't matter. So there's like a, you know, there is a way to, like, I learned how to trust certain types of myself
Mhm.
by allowing myself to like let loose
Yeah,
a little.
there's like you trigger something inside you too, like being stoned because it's a different state. So part of you is just like, wow, what the fuck? Like, why is this happening? And you're just like, it's okay. And it's like, it is. And you're
fine.
like, yeah, nothing's happening right now. Like you're just sitting here.
Yeah. And so the thing I'm doing now is like, I get the overwhelmed feeling or something like this, is a sensitivity to something. It doesn't, you know, whatever in the environment, it's either a social thing or a, like an
A work
expectation thing, a work thing, like doing all the pixel art and stuff like this. It's got to be good and perfect or people won't like it. And then fucking everything's going to fall apart. And I'm like, okay, calm down. And you take a little weed and then I go play with it. And it turns out how it turns out. And I had a good time doing it. And then I hand it off to people and they like it or they don't like it. It's fine. And like, so now do that without the weed. Like, oh, it's going to be fun. I'm like, okay, feel that. Like, you know that it can turn out all right. And so like, then I get into it and I play with it and I don't need it. So it's a training. It's a way to like be in an alternate, like an altered state as a way to feel. It's role playing again. It's what we were talking about. I am a type of guy who can do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I can do it stoned. I can do it sober. I can do it anyway, which means that I'd rather do it sober because you're more connected to the world and it goes faster too. So. Drugs, they can teach you things if you treat them right.
It's true.
I mean, that's probably the normal brain of most people. Like, they start something, they work on something, they don't put like extraordinary kind of high expectations of themselves. And whenever they relax, they actually relax. Versus us, we probably go, oh, there are just a million of things that I'm not doing. And that probably causes this and this and this. And then 3 seconds in, you're like, everything is fucking falling down.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's a hobby of mine. Just looking at people when they relax, I'm like, oh, that looks so good. I had it when I was like 16, 15, you know, that age. I could remember I would just lay on the couch and then just do nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't do that.
You can't right now. You have the ability to do this,
Yeah,
but you
you'll
have
get
to
back to
practice.
Yeah, I need to get back to it. But then this trip, how long has it been? 4 days probably. Most stressful time of my whole year. It's just like,
There's good and bad stress. Like I've been thinking a lot about this. Like I was walking around, where was it? This morning. I was like getting coffee and I noticed the sky and I can feel the air and there's a bird over there There's a little puppy.
Yeah.
Somebody's playing with it. I'm like, oh, this is nice. And I'm stressed right now. Like, I'm like, but it's a good stress. Like, I want to do well. I'm pushing myself. And yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is that lasts seconds, in the best scenario, probably minutes, right? But then people like her, like she would just wake up and say, good day, like take a shower, go have a breakfast. And then there's no fear of, not a real fear at least, but a fear of something gonna go wrong, where we constantly dealing with that mentally every second. Where you go, there are just so many things. And if you are not working, and work can be a very addictive thing too,
Oh,
because
yeah.
when you're not working, then you get this withdrawal symptoms where you go, um, fuck what I should be doing. I'm not enjoying this. I should probably get back to work. And then you can never take a break from it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, this is an addiction. This is how addictions work. You can't imagine it any other way. That means you're in a worldview where you can't. This is why I started doing drugs. Imagine it a different way. You
Yeah.
can. It's not hard. Take a bunch of psychedelics. You'll imagine every possible way. You have to be ready to do these kinds of things and to integrate like what that can do for you. So the place that I'm at now is that like I experience stress, but it's stress that I know that I chose. Like I am doing this because I wish to be doing this, not because I'm afraid of what I'll be if I don't do it. Like there is a slight, and it took me a long time to arrange this. And it took a lot of like falling apart and building back up and doing it wrong and trying it again. And it's a work in progress always, right? And like, and if I notice that I'm too much out of the world and not checking in or whatever, then maybe I'm falling back into that pattern because I'm flipping out a little. But then I can talk to her, I'm flipping out a little, or like we unpack it some, or I write to myself. I have ways to check in with this stuff now. It took me a while to get there. And if I'm having fear responses, then okay, we all right, what's going on? What am I afraid of? Who is afraid? Like, what is the fear?
I had this earlier this week.
Yeah.
I walked like over an hour to a park. Like it basically like go as far as you can on foot, and then just sitting there and like, yeah, like I'm like trying to tire myself out, and like I can't do anything else. I just need to like focus because I'm flipping out. Just calm down. Like this is where I was journaling. I'm like, what is happening? Like you think this thing is happening, but why is that causing you so much stress? Like there's no way it's that thing. So like what's happening?
Yeah.
So just slowly letting it come out.
Slowing it down.
Slowly let it come out.
Like, is the fear real? Where is the fear? Who is afraid? Like these kinds of things. Like the fear is a place that you can look. You can look at it, and you may not be able to look at it directly. You can look around it. You can get close to it. You can sit with it. You can see how long it lasts. Like it's not a foregone conclusion that you are afraid, right? And making decisions from a place where you understand what the fear is.
Or you just trying to look at what the fear is, like get it.
There's a bunch
so
of
that's why you've probably been having a stressful, like it feels stressful there because you are relaxing more and you can look at what it is. And so you're just like, fuck, it's like insane right now because you don't have the usual stuff to like hide behind, which is a good thing because then you're looking at it, but then you have to look at it.
Well, that's what builds resilience. Once you've experienced the fear and it doesn't kill you, then you're like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing here. Like I'm afraid, but that fear doesn't have to own my relationship to the world. And the more that you can expose yourself to that thing in a way that is healthy, not like screaming and fucking fighting it and like, surviving it. Like that's a way to do it too. I've done that. It's better if you can like do it like as a parent compassionately, like you can teach yourself, like you can be near that thing. It's like exposure therapy. Like there's a snake over there. I'm afraid of the snake. Take one step towards the snake. Are you dead? No, you're not dead. Take another step. Touch the snake. The snake's fine. It doesn't care about you. Like, whatever it is, right? Like
it's not a snake.
It's not a snake. It was a stick all along, right? Like this is that whole lesson. So, but it's hard to find your stance and like know that you're ready to do these things and to encounter them, right? And then when you come out of it, there,
Have you been drinking a lot while you're there?
I drink once a lot, but it wasn't here. It was in the. I
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
so that's good. And are you
Decided
having,
on a drinking day? So we're drinking a lot, and I'm like, all right, what should we do? We just take a trip, and then we booked everything then, and then we woke up and we did it.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
are you are you having panic attacks? Like, is it that bad?
Yeah, daily, kind of. It's
Yeah.
on time. Yeah. But it's a very kind of a surprising ones because I don't have work stress, like work or impossible to say I don't have it, but it doesn't affect me as much. If something is wrong at work, I'll deal with it. But this is completely something different. Like all of the stuff that I'm worrying about with the OFC2, it just like it's not real. We are on a path, or probably I mentioned this a few times. Yeah, I don't know. So whenever I feel very calm and relaxed, and usually it's instantly after I had a happy moment, it hits you. So if you had a good laugh and you
Mhm.
spend a few hours not thinking about work, then suddenly it just pulls you down, and then suddenly you feel like, all right, I'm missing out on something. What is it? Because
Yeah.
the heart is racing. I'm sitting down. Things like that.
The shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you didn't pay attention to me for 2 hours. So
Mhm.
now I'm gonna like abuse you because of it. And you're just like, for the love of God, can you just chill out?
Yeah.
Nope. A menace.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's not fun.
No.
It's like being a slave to something inside you. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Mega version of yourself.
basically, yeah. I mean, there is an understanding to be had there, though. Like it can be related to.
Yeah.
Like it can be, there is another side of this thing where that stress wants something and it cares about something. It just doesn't have the avenue to care about it appropriately. So
This is why you have to do something new.
yeah,
And this
you
is
have to
where the
give it a
change
new
comes in.
expression.
And if you don't know what it is, this is where it gets really hard. Like, because you're just like, well, what the fuck do I do different?
Yeah.
Because at some point it's like, I've had enough. I want to do something different because I don't want to feel this anymore. And then, okay, now what? Like,
Let's try this. Let's try that. Let's try this. Let's try that. Is this better? And then sometimes it'll be better. Sometimes it's just, not react. I mean, you're saying you're not reacting to the it's not like you're separating them, right? Like the panic comes on and it doesn't eat your entire world.
Yeah.
That's a step. That's hard.
No,
Like
it's
some
a big deal.
because once you can get through that, you're like, okay, so we have a boundary and we can relate to each other. Like then you can push further into it, or you can listen to it a little more. Your ears aren't ringing all the time because like you're flipping out and having like a PTSD moment, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just getting closer and closer, feeling more and more of it until it reveals itself as something that's very obvious or very comforting or familiar or whatever. Oh, that's who you are. That's fine. Okay, now I know what to do. Like it, but just giving yourself space to do this and know that like flip out is like, it's part of it. It's fine. Like you're going to be fine. You'll be fine over and over. You'll be fine. It's going to be fine. It's hard to feel that in the moment though. Like you're just fucking everything is collapsing around you or whatever. So yeah.
How long are you going to stay there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never plan these kind of things. I just show up and then I stay until I feel like I had a day of relaxation. Then I'm like, oh, good, let's go back.
Go back. Yeah.
I haven't had one day yet. So I'll stay here until I'm like, all right, the point that the thing that I wanted to accomplish with this trip has been accomplished. I can go back. Otherwise, it feels like such a failure to go back. And I'm actually more stressed out than I was before I come to this vacation. How's that even possible? So I try to reset it. And usually with these things, if you've been working a lot and then you take this trip and then your expectation is that you're instantly gonna switch mind, but now you calm down. Yeah. So I guess this thing gonna take probably a couple of days more. And then this weekend I might be able to relax.
Well, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Good. Nope. We talk to each other next week and then see how it is.
Yeah.
Well, we're on the road next week.
No, that's right.
I don't know where we are. We'll see.
And we'll let you know.
Yeah, we're on, it might be the next 2 weeks.
Hmm.
We could find another time though, maybe.
Cool.
Okay. Well, at the very least, we'll have, well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll iron it out because it'd be nice to know where you're at with this process. Whatever. We can probably find some time.
Yeah.
Cool. Till next time, then.
Until next time.
Enjoy your incoming relaxation as much as you can.
Thank you.
All right. All right, man. Later.
Bye.
Bye.